I think Garth George is the most underrated player.
Here comes the throw to first, and Griffin coming in from third. He slides, and he's in there safely. Wants the bunt. He has dragged the bunt up along the first baseline.
Pitch, fly ball deep right field. That's got a chance. Back goes Gibson, back, and there she goes. A three-run home run for Ernie Witt. Hit into the one all line into right field. That's going to win the ball game.
Well, I think they'll go all the way.
As long as Detroit doesn't get out to another start like they did last year.
Hopefully, with the extra pitching they've added, they'll win.
We've got a great chance. We're going to be there all the way.
Houston threw one right at the head of Ernie Witt earlier, and now he hits the short fell in the back, fell dropped the bat, karate kick. 9 years the Blue Jay fans are waiting for this. There's the time to drop down. He's got it. He's got it. The Blue Jays are alive. The Jays are alive. They won the Eastern Division Championship. CTV presents Labatt Blue Jays Baseball. Brought to you by Labatt Blue, the clean true taste of Canada. By Esso retailers and agents across Canada. And by Xerox, we answer to you. Oh, to relive all those great and wonderful memories that go all the way back to April the 7th, 1977. But sports fans all across Canada, tonight is the beginning of a new era. In this magnificent Skydome, this is a structure that will be recognized all over the world as the greatest sports stadium ever built. Hello, everybody. I'm Fergie Oliver, and welcome to the Skydome. This is it, the most magnificent sports building that there is. And tonight on CTV, we're here to show you the very first game played, the Milwaukee Brewers and the Toronto Blue Jays. And the Blue Jay players wanted me to personally thank all the construction workers and all the people involved in putting this stadium together. Now, let's go to Don Chevrier and Tony Kubek.
Thank you, Fergie. Indeed, an exciting moment here as a new beginning for baseball in Toronto takes shape. Tony, I know one thing you're very happy about, being a purist. The weather allows them for Game 1 to open up the dome and let all the atmosphere in.
Well, very simply, Toronto has outdone itself. I think Fergie said it down there and touched on it, but you've got to be inside here, see it to believe it. The Milwaukee Brewers people came in here a while ago to see this stadium. They are talking of building one in the next 2 years in Milwaukee. When they saw this, their eyes got that big.
I can imagine. I mean, the spectators will probably spend more time looking around at other areas of the stadium, the scoreboard and all the amenities, than they will watching tonight's baseball game. The game is almost incidental, isn't it?
Well, it's not going to be at about 7:35 or so after we introduce the players. Going around the stadium, and a lot of the players did that. There was no batting practice today, very little infield, but everybody was agog, all the players from Milwaukee and Toronto as they went around. It looks like it's going to be a pitcher's park, so I would think that run production will go down here. However, when you play football in here, I think you're going to have higher score in the football games because it's controlled conditions.
Let's find out what the other folks think. Let's go down to Fergie.
All right, thank you very much, Don Chevrier. We've got a lot of fans standing by. Sir, could I have your name, please?
Arch for Mimico.
Tell me, Archie, were you a season ticket holder since day one?
Oh, yeah, since the first day.
What do you think of this magnificent stadium?
I think it's magnificent. I can't get over the feeling that you're outside. That's what I'm so worried about.
Well, we are. The roof is open.
It's great.
What's your name, sir?
Angelo Perfetti.
And what do you think of this place, Angelo?
Just awesome. I think it's fantastic. Toronto is a first-class city, and it has a first-class stadium.
And you're a real Blue Jay fan. Always
Right
have
from
been.
day one.
All right, here's another gentleman. Can I have your name, please?
Gary Pickering from Burlington, Ontario.
Gary, what do you think of this place?
This is Canada's dream come true for baseball in Toronto. It's just a fantastic place, Bert.
Big smile on this couple's face. What do you think?
It's awesome. It's just beautiful.
Bernie, this is great. Maybe now we've got a ballpark to go along with this class club that we've had here for all these years.
All right.
First class all the way.
Thank you very much, and let's enjoy the season. You're watching Labatt's Blue Jays baseball on CTV.
Everybody, and welcome back to the fabulous Skydome in Toronto. Its first major event taking place tonight. Milwaukee Brewers here to open it up against the Toronto Blue Jays. And, of course, the centerpiece of it all is the roof that does work indeed. It will open and close on command. As a matter of fact, to say more about that is almost redundant. Stadium that will close. Therefore, a decision will have to be made before each game, say 2 or 3 hours before, on whether to open the roof for the game of that day. That open or close decision will be made by the Blue Jays. And they'll be in close touch always with the weather office. Then, of course, after the first pitch, the game is in the hands of the umpires, and they would close the roof if need be. The key thing to remember, though, this is a dome stadium. It is going to open when the officials want it open. Otherwise, it is going to remain closed. Fans entering this latest wonder of the world will be greeted by these huge, handsome sculptures by Michael Snow depicting various aspects of what the Skydome will present in the years to come. And as you go inside, all but a very few of the 50,000 baseball seats will offer an unobstructed view of the playing surface. These seats are reached for the most part by ramps, and depending on the ticket price, they could be at any one of 5 levels. Not open now, but soon, will be a 364-suite hotel, the first ever incorporated into a major sports complex. 70 of these suites will overlook the playing surface. However, bring your banker along because these rooms will go for almost a cool $1,000 a day. One thing you probably won't see from the hotel is the giant scoreboard replay screen called Jumbotron or Skyvision. This is the world's largest screen, 115 feet long and 35 feet high. It is over 3 times the size of any other ever built. To put it another way, this is almost 5 times larger than the old scoreboard at Exhibition Stadium. But even with its mammoth proportions, the manufacturers claim the images will be razor sharp and crystal clear. And indeed, that is the case. Underneath, the baseball diamond's laid out, having home plate at the south end of the dome, with center field straight away north. First base will be at the east side, the downtown side of the diamond. Third base is on the west. And along that north end will be an 800-seat super restaurant that features an elaborate buffet, international cuisine, an exciting atmosphere that's going to be open before, during, and after events here. Above the restaurant, you might want to try the 300-seat bar on for size. In coming months, a country and western bar, Hard Rock Cafe, and a number of clubs designed to tone up your muscles or quench your thirst. There's a lot going on here. We'll check back with Fergie in just a moment.
About the Skydome, and we've got Freddie McGriff. And Fred, unfortunately, you have not been able to take any batting practice, so you're going into this game cold turkey, so to speak, and we don't know whether the ball carries or not.
Yeah, but I think it's a great day for the Blue Jay organization and everything. A new stadium, Exhibition Stadium his days were numbered, and now we got a new stadium, so time to play ball.
We're looking forward to it, big guy. Good luck, okay? Bob Brenly, you played in the Houston Astrodome. How do they compare?
There is no comparison as far as I'm concerned. The Astrodome wasn't really built for baseball. It was built as a multi-purpose stadium, and baseball was just an insignificant other thing they did there. But this is a baseball stadium. This is great.
Really, there aren't enough words to describe it.
No, there isn't really. You know, the stadium itself is amazing, but the field is still 60 feet 6 inches and 90 feet to the bases.
All right, Tommy Lawless, what about you? What do you think about this, big guy?
I think it's great. I think the fans are going to love it here. I think every seat in here is a great seat to watch a baseball game.
I noticed that. I looked around, didn't see a bad seat.
No, I looked around earlier today when we were out wandering around, and it's going to be great for the fans, and hopefully we start playing better. It's a new season for us now.
Well, you haven't had a chance yet to see the skyboxes, have you? That's where they pay a lot of money to sit. You haven't, right?
I haven't seen them yet, but I'm going to go up there one of these days and
look
check
at
out
that monitor
every
because
seat.
we're going to go upstairs right now to Tony Kubek, who's sitting in one of those skyboxes. Tony?
All right, Fergie, thank you. Tell Tom Lawless he can't afford it, neither can I. Whoever used the expression, be it ever so humble, there's no place like home. Not very humble surroundings here. And the places, though, they will humble you. All the amenities of home. The Milwaukee Brewers contingent That is who is guest in this box right here. If you wanted to rent one, it would cost you $110,000 to $220,000 per year. Now, that does not include the food, the furnishings. You have to sign a 10-year contract. You do have great seats. You also have to purchase tickets for all of approximately 200 events. So the prices are humbling, but the view, well, they're about the best in the stadium. Chevy, we're going to go to you and let you take us around this Skydome a little bit more as we just salivate. We could be sitting right there.
Well, you wouldn't salivate too long because the hot dogs in those private boxes cost $6.50 a copy, and you have to order at least 10 to get fed at all. So it's expensive to eat in there, but I'll tell you, those folks are going to have a great time tonight and throughout the seasons to come with the Toronto Blue Jays. Much more to come here as we check out the new dome for you on opening night in Toronto, and we'll have it for you in just a moment. You're watching Labatt's Blue Jays baseball on CTV from the Dome.
The players, of course, are always more interested in the playing conditions and the surface than anything else. They were not happy, as you know, with the artificial surface in Exhibition Stadium. This just put down this morning, but it does not have very many seams. The mound, of course, is a floating mound. They can hydraulically lift it and put it back into the turf. If you wonder about whether it will be a hitter's park or a pitcher's park, there are going to be so many conditions, nighttime, daytime, whether the dome is open or closed. There will be variables. However, from what pitchers tell us and players who have just observed the ball fly off a fungo bat, they think this will be a much fairer pitcher's park. The dimensions, some say 400 is dead center, some say it's 412. It's listed as 375 in the power alley. Some say maybe as much as 385. A nice high mound. The pitchers should get good leverage. And we think this is going to be a very, very fair pitcher's park. And if you're a good hitter with power, you can get the ball out if you hit it down the lines, but it's going to be hard to get it out in center field unless you're Freddie McGriff, a George Bell, Mosby on occasion, a Rob Beer with great power from the Milwaukee Brewers. So the players have had their look at this ballpark, the best look that they are going to get. They'll have to know and see what it's going to do when the first pitch is thrown in this ball game by Jimmy Key. When he throws that first pitch to Paul Molitor, well, Paul Molitor usually swings at the first pitch if it's a strike, and if he does, they're going to try and get that ball, and then it will go to one of the two Halls of Fame. So we had a nice look at the field, the dugouts, which are very comfortable for the players. Let's go down now to Fergie Albert with his interview, and he's standing with a very big man in Boston yesterday in Fenway Park. Fergie?
And that is a moment, Tony, that we shall never forget in Blue Jay history. Anytime you can come back from a 10-0 deficit and have this man hit a grand slam home run, and the Blue Jays go on to win it. Ernie, you've had a chance to gather your thoughts over a night, and boy, oh boy, there's nothing that's better than a grand slam home run and a victory.
Well, there's no question. There's no way to open up the Skydome either than to come back with a victory, and especially a 3-game winning streak there in Boston. And I know I was excited. All the ball players were excited. I had a hard time sleeping last night.
I bet you did. Ernie, it's only fitting that I talked to you as the last Blue Jay before the introductions and the beginning of a new season, because you're the man that's been here the longest. You've seen it all. The original Blue Jay, the only one that's left. You've seen everything come together here, the Skydome, everything, all the talk about it and everything.
Well, it's almost a dream come true. Again, you know, it's something that everyone had talked about, and we had anticipated what it was going to be like. But now that we're finally into it, you know, the excitement's in the air, and we're just happy that we're into the new facility. And you know, again, Exhibition Stadium served its purpose, but we're happy here.
What was the general feeling throughout the players as they came to the stadium this afternoon and saw this magnificent building for the first time?
Excitement. You know, they walked out and it seemed like their bottom jaw just dropped when they looked at just the magnificent beauty of it. You know, especially when we walked in, we got in here about 3 o'clock and the dome was closed at the time, and to actually see it open up and know that you can play indoors, and now you see that it's open and we're going to be playing outdoors, which is a great feeling.
Ernie, I was talking to Marty Springstad a little earlier, and we were looking at the hitting background. Now, I don't have a monitor here, but let's just sort of turn here to the side. And look out into center field. You can see that hitting background. What did you think of it?
Pretty colors.
Do you think it'll be a factor?
It could be. You know, I don't know how high the pitcher's going to be up on the mound and whether that will play a factor in it. I know they put the black drops out there, but the color lights, I don't know whether it's above it or not.
Ernie, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
And now let's go to the PA announcer, Murray Eldon, for the introduction of the players.
Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, it's time to meet the Milwaukee Brewers, tonight's visitors for the first game at Skydome. First, the non-starters, coaches, and support staff. Equipment manager, Tony Migliaccio. Trainer, John Adams. Trainer, Al Price. The coaches, number 8, Andy Etchebarren. Number 10, Duffy Dyer. Number 12, Larry Haney. In the bullpen, number 24, Chuck Hartenstein. Number 35, Tony Muser. The non-starters, number 6, infielder Bill Myers. Number 7, infielder Dale Swain. In the bullpen, number 22, catcher Charlie O'Brien. Number 25, catcher Dave Engel. Number 29, pitcher Chris Basio. Number 30, outfielder Terry Francona. Number 32, pitcher Chuck Krim. Number 33, pitcher Jay Aldrich. Number 36, pitcher Tony Fawcett. Number 37, pitcher Dan Plasak. Number 41, pitcher Mark Knudsen. Number 47, pitcher Bill Kruger. Number 48, pitcher Brian Clutterbuck. Number 49, pitcher Teddy Higuera. And now the starting lineup for the Brewers tonight. Batting first at third base, number 4, Paul Molitor. Batting second, the designated hitter, number 19, Robin Yount. Batting third, the shortstop, number 1, Gary Sheffield. Batting fourth, the right fielder, number 45, Rob Deere. Batting fifth, the left fielder, number 26, Glenn Bragg. Batting sixth, at first base, number 9, Greg Brock. Batting seventh, the catcher, number 5, B.J. Surhoff. Batting eighth, the center fielder, number 16, Mike Felder. Batting ninth, at second base, number 14, Gus Hollider.
The starting pitcher, warming up in the bullpen, number 38, Don August. And the manager of the Brewers, number 42, Tom Trebelhorn. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome your Toronto Blue Jays. First, the non-starters, coaches, and support staff. Equipment manager, Jeff Ross. Trainer, Tommy Craig. Assistant trainer, Brent Andrews. The coaches, number 7, third base, John McLaren. In the bullpen, number 8, bullpen coach, John Sullivan. Number 25, first base coach, Mike Squires. In the bullpen, number 41, pitching coach, Al Whitmire. Number 56, coach, Marty Patton.
Let's see, I'll talk about the engineering marvel.
53,000 baseball fans. Hello, I'm Jim Paskey along with Pete Vukovich. Glad to be with you from Toronto tonight. Boom, 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 boom.
Our Canadian friends are certainly beaming with pride, and they have a right to engineering marvel.
Really, an engineering marvel.
Yeah. An engineering marvel, and astute means of financing.
Oh, you're going to say that?
Province of Ontario.
Are you talking to us?
Could hardly hear. Our Canadian friends are truly beaming with pride, and they have a right to be. An engineering marvel and an astute means of financing.
Number 37, pitcher Dave Speed. Number 38, pitcher Dwayne Mike. Number 42, pitcher Xavier Hernandez. Number 44, pitcher Frank Will. Number 46, pitcher Mike Flanagan. Number 50, pitcher Tom Henke. Number 55, pitcher John Cerruti. The starting lineup for the Blue Jays tonight, batting first, the right fielder, number 54, Junior Felix. And second, the shortstop, number 1, Tony Hernandez. Baseman, number 17, Kelly Rivers.
Batting fourth, the left fielder, number 11, George Bell. Batting fifth, at first base, number 19, Fred McGriff. Batting sixth, the center fielder, number 15, Lloyd Mosby. Batting seventh, the catcher, number 12, Ernie Whitt. Batting eighth, the designated hitter, number 5, Rex Mullinick. Batting ninth, the second baseman, number 2, Nelson Liriano. Warming up in the bullpen, tonight's starting pitcher for the Blue Jays, number 22, Jimmy Key. And the manager of the Blue Jays, number 43, Vito Gaston. Ladies and gentlemen, your Toronto Blue Jays.
Whoa. Okay, thank you very much. We've got Ann Murray just coming off, and Ann, as usual, you're absolutely magnificent, and I know you're quite a baseball fan.
Oh, I am. They want Snowbird. I'm a real big baseball fan, absolutely.
I wanted to ask you, who's your favorite player?
Well, Dave Steve said to say it was him.
Oh,
But I wouldn't dare say anybody today. I love the whole team. I'm behind them 100%.
yeah, it's a great moment for all
It's
Canada,
so
isn't it?
exciting. I can't believe it.
Well, we're
Great.
sure happy to have you.
Thank you.
All right, Ann Murray. So right now, let's go to Don Chevrier and Tony Kubek.
Okay. All right, Fergie, a very exciting moment here. Canada's own Songbird launching the opening of the Skydome with the two national anthems. This crowd still finding its way in. There are a few empty seats showing, but believe me, they're all gone tonight. There's Rich Garcia in the middle, one of the umpires who was here on April 7th, 1977, and the man from Florida will be the first to agree he likes tonight's conditions a whole lot better, and surroundings, I might add.
Yeah, the temperature is a little more conducive to baseball, and the surroundings certainly are. We get a wonderful panoramic shot of this fabulous monument to the people of Canada. Toronto has really done a job and outdone anything possible, I think. And I said earlier, saw Mr. and Mrs. Bud Selig, the president of the Brewers, and his wife, and they are just gaga when they saw this, because they may be building one. I don't think they can afford one like this. Here's a big moment for this gentleman.
Yes.
Mr. Eddie Hardy, the CEO of the Blue Jays. He's going to do the honors.
You know, as he walks out, the crowd got here about 6 o'clock, and they missed one of the great moments. I was very impressed with the roof opening, how silent it was, how smooth it was. Just flawless operation, about 20 or 25 minutes. Now, Mr. Hardy getting set to deliver to Ernie Witt, who delivered yesterday at Fenway Park in Boston. Here is the first pitch in the Skydome. Man who has worked so hard, so devoted to getting baseball fans in Toronto and across Canada, as Ernie signs the ball for them, the very best team they can put on the field. They've had a tough start, but I've got a feeling after winning 3 in Boston, this Skydome is going to really elevate this club, Tony.
Well, sometimes the anticipation has been here for so long, and you think, well, it can't be as good as everybody's anticipating or saying. But, folks, it was. I mean, it is exciting. When the Blue Jays were announced, the fans were all up and all cheering. And they, as Don said, are still filing in. But it's just a wonderful, wonderful facility. And even though I don't like domes and artificial surface, I can live with this one.
You can make an exception just once here. Well, they didn't finish laying the carpeting out in left field till about 4:30. But if anybody's ever had a new house they moved into, they can relate to what's gone on here. It looks just super right now. You're watching Labatt's Blue Jays baseball from the Skydome on CTV.
Is it a full moon? We'll be able to tell because the Skydome is open.
It is the gorilla of the facility.
Here come the Jays taking the field, Don. You will wonder as this season progresses and the Jays get more familiar with the surroundings in the Skydome, how much of an advantage it will become for the home team. We'll be able to tell for a while, but it's become a tremendous home field advantage in Houston with their pitching staff. Look at Montreal since they organized it. Minnesota the year they hardly lost the game and never lost a postseason game there. Seattle plays much better in Seattle's dome than they do on the road. So ultimately, will this be the edge if the Jays can get back in contention in the East?
I guess you'd have to say it could be, and you'd have to say also that the only real hitter's dome is Seattle. Minnesota kind of settled down a little bit. And Houston and Montreal, as you say, are very good pitchers' ballparks. Jimmy Key's hoping this ballpark will be a good one for him.
Well, I would think a control pitcher like Jimmy Key, who, with the big right-handed power hitters, can keep the ball away and can change speed, will be able to use that spacious center and right and left center field area. It is a ballpark you want a lot of speed in the outfield. And here's the lineup that Jimmy Key will face, Don.
And it's been a good one, yet like the Blue Jays, they have trouble winning. Paul Molitor leads it off. Robin Yount to DH hitting second. Young Gary Sheffield, sensation at shortstop, hits third. Rob Deere, among the leaders in home runs, is in right field, batting cleanup. Glenn Bragg is in left field. Greg Brock, after an injury, is just back at first base. DJ Surhoff is the catcher. Mike Comey, Tiny Felder, is in center field, and Gus Fowler, the second baseman, hits ninth. Jimmy Key came off a top outing last time in Cleveland. Looks to pick up his 7th win here in the Skydome tonight.
Well, Jimmy had a lot of innings in the month of May. 2 9-inning outings, a couple of 8-inning outings, 1 7 two of the other outings. And basically with his control, he will use this defense. Bell, Mosby, and Felix. The blazing speed in right field. Gruber, Fernandez, Liriano, and McGriff. Ernie Wick, the Blue Jay, gets to catch Jimmy Key in the first pitch from Molitor in the Skydome.
And as you said that, both Mosby and Bell race back to the wall to check the padding, get the feel of it, get the feel of the warning track, as did Felix in right field.
Well, the padding is 4 inches thick, and you could pound that all day long and never find a beam.
That's good news for all concerned. Here it is. Now this dome is really open. There goes the ball from the plate umpire, Rocky Rowe. Ball boy over to the Blue Jay official, and that will go on to the Hall of Fame.
So Ken Erskine got his grips on it. A breaking ball for a strike from Key. And with Jimmy's wonderful control, you all but knew it was going to be a strike.
This is kind of fun having 2 home openers in a year. Now it is 1-1 the Molitor. He'll be followed by Yount and Sheffield.
Jimmy Key has walked to 7 all year, 1 intentionally in 90 innings pitched. And most of those strikes are quality strikes.
And the first base hit of the dome belongs to Molitor.
He's going to go, too, on Lloyd Garn.
He's there.
And with both Mosby and Bell struggling in the department throwing, having to play keeper in this ballpark to protect the gap, this might not be a very good home run park, but remains to be seen. But it's going to be an outstanding doubles park like Kansas City because the gaps are so big.
Well, of his last 16 hits now, Molitor has had 10 go for extra bases. That is his 9th double in that stretch. And if they ask you years from now who got the first base hit in the Skydome, this is the man. Make a note, a double for Paul Molitor.
And Yount, one of the real professional hitters in baseball, will shoot this ball in the right field. You've got to watch Molitor. He can steal a base.
Now those 2 kids, Molitor and Yount, who met so much over the years for this team, getting on. Now Paul is 32. This man, Robin, is 33. Seems like yesterday he was a teenage sensation.
Came up at 18 years of age, spent about 60 games in the minor leagues, as did Paul Molitor. If you're wondering why this early in the season Robin Yount is showing bunts and why he's DHing, because he's a fine center fielder, yesterday in the ball game, a hitter hit a knuckleball to him out in the outfield, and at the last second, it knuckled right into the finger on his bare hand. So he cannot throw very well. He's DHing. Apparently, he's having trouble swinging. He's bunting early, which is unusual.
He shows it to get the strike. So it is 2-1. He's coming off 2 great years, Yount is. 306 and 312. He's nudging 300 right now.
A Hall of Fame caliber player. Started as a shortstop, outstanding outfielder, and after the shoulder surgery, the arm has come back. But he can do as much with a bat, except hit 40 home runs, as anybody in the American League.
What's the bunt again? Lays it down third base side to Gruber. And he gives himself up, getting his partner Molitor over to third base.
And Molitor rounded the bag very widely because Ernie Witt had a hold at home plate as Gruber threw the ball, and nobody was holding Molitor. That really was Tony's job. He should have been over at third base after he held the runner. Right here. Watch Molitor. He's wide open. If McGriff doesn't look, he keeps on going with his speed. So Tony held the man at second, but then didn't get over to third.
And here is Gary Sheffield. Just 20 years old. With a world of talent. And he's going to produce the first run of the Dome on a ground ball to short. 1-0 Milwaukee as he brings Molitor home.
Well, another reason that Tom Sivler, number 42, is bunting, aside from the finger of the out, there is only one team in the American League who has scored fewer runs. That's the Detroit Tigers. So it's put a scuffle in the run-scoring department for the Brewers.
Now, the next hitter has scored a few with a long ball, Rob Deere, with 12 of them. But not hitting for average is .218.
Watch this high front leg kick, which he started earlier this year, a little bit last year, like Kirby Puckett. He's been hitting the ball in the right field a little more than he did at the end of last year. Now he's gone away from the high leg kick. He was hitting the ball very well earlier this year that way.
Hit 3 homers against the Jays last year, 7 lifetime versus Toronto, and he's chasing that trio atop the home run derby this year. Ground ball. Here's Gruber collecting it. And the inning is over, but not before the Milwaukee Brewers draw first blood of the Skydome. This crowd in anticipation of the Blue Jays' first at-bat coming right up. On Labatt, Blue Jays baseball on CTV. Here is the Milwaukee starting pitcher, Don August, tonight. He is 4-6 on the year. Junior Felix, who's been so hot in Boston, as you saw on the weekend, leads it off. 11 RBIs at Fenway. Tony Fernandez and Kelly Gruber and George Bell. Fred McGriff hitting 5th. Lloyd Mosley behind him. Ernie Grand Slam Witt, the catcher. And then DH Grant Fonodix and the second baseman, Nelson Lariano. August is 25 years of age. A 1-1 record against the Jays, but a horrendous 859 earned run average versus Toronto last year.
August is a breaking ball pitcher. He does have a sinker ball. He's got to keep the ball down. He has struggled in his last few starts. Bragg, Felder, and Rob Deere in the outfield. Paul Molitor. Sheffield is rough, but he has got a lot of talent, can run and throw. Gus Polidor, Gantner out. He was hit by a pitch. Greg Brock out a couple months of shoulder surgery, back at first base. C.J. Suroff, the left-handed hitter, will catch the curveball, slider, change, and sinker ball pitcher Don August.
And here is Rocky Rowe behind the plate. Dale Scott, Rich Garcia, and Mike Riley are the umpires. We said earlier Garcia was here in '77 for that opener. August, a tough competitor, has had his ups and downs. He has to live and die with his control. Got to try to cut down a lot of walks he gave up last year.
He won 13 ball games last year. His problem is sometimes he doesn't trust his stuff, doesn't think it's good enough. Nibbles gets in the hole, and he pitches from behind. It's trouble. They are dragged in at the corners. Molitor and Brock with a great speed of Felix.
Now, the way this outfield wall is angled here, I'm thinking that maybe inside the park home runs may not be commonplace, but could occur fairly frequently. Can catch an angle and get away on an outfielder.
Well, if you try for a shoestring catch on this, coming too fast, it bounced over your head. There's the changeup. An ideal pitch for Felix to bunt, and you can get on top of.
His Grand Slam inside the park effort in Fenway as they look back through reams and reams of material, just the third ever in that fine facility dating back to 1912. Cracks it down and does not get it through. Polidor robs him of a base hit with a fine play.
Well, we just had a chance to see the speed of Junior Felix. Hitting and running at the same time with an open stance. And Polidor makes an outstanding play. Junior Felix came in stride from beating it out. You know, we talked about the inside the park home run. That's amazing in itself, but what amazed me was the ball he hit for the home run over the bullpen that went about 420 feet.
Yes,
Fenway yesterday. He only weighs 165 pounds.
And yet he really did nail that one for the game winner. So here is Tony Fernandez now. He takes ball 1. And Berge reports that they have little difficulty with the dirt, consistency of it around home plate.
Oh, that's right, Chevy. Rich Garcia, the crew chief, out at second base. As Fernandez hits that ball down to Brock, the first baseman, he tags the bag for the second out. But Garcia came over and was asking for Brad Bujo, the head groundskeeper. He said the dirt at home plate is starting to break down, and I'm sure you're going to see a manicure job at the end of this inning.
Well, Brad Bujo told us this morning when we were out here looking around the ballpark that when they left the dome open and had the downpour, was it Saturday?
Yeah.
The water just went right through. There's no drainage beneath the dirt, and it just stayed there. And beneath it, it was wet, and they had to re-till that ground several times and try and tap it back down. So the moisture, obviously, is starting to come to the surface.
Yeah, the drainage system's not in full operation. With this roof supposedly being closed, when it does rain, it shouldn't be a problem. But it was on Saturday when they chose to open it, and the sky is open. Whoa! Hard shot. That'll be a base hit as it escapes Paul Molitor. Gruber's on his way to second. And that's the call.
What a great play by Molitor and Polidor. good hustle by Kelly Gruber. An absolutely fantastic play by Paul Molitor to even knock that ball down a bullet and then to pounce on it like he did and make a great throw.
And Garcia's shaken up and laughing.
Kelly Gruber saved his helmet. Look at this. It's an absolute bullet that caught just a little bit of Mauser's blood, but watch this play. He's got a shortstop or an outfielder's arm and a pickup by Polidor, and there goes Rich Garcia going all the way back to his home court in Miami.
He was dancing like he had a hot foot to get away from Kelly Gruber and then makes the call. So the Blue Jays are gone, trailing by a run at the Skydome, and the Bass Blue Jays baseball at CTV. Glenn Bragg's the Milwaukee hitter to start the Brewers' second inning. He'll be followed by Greg Brock and E.J. Sherhoff, the catcher. 1-0 Milwaukee.
Last time we saw Glenn Bragg, he was not wearing glasses. He was wearing the contacts, but they've been giving him trouble. He's gone to the glasses. He hits best, as does Rob Deere, when they try and hit the ball to right center field and not pull everything.
Had a mediocre year and career against the Blue Jays, but a .221 lifetime hitter against Toronto.
Second half last year, Bragg began to realize that #1 draft pick potential, and then he had the shoulder surgery. It set back a little bit, so he's had a little bit of a slow start.
He had a nerve problem in his right shoulder. Reminder of this CTV telecast presented by authority of the Toronto Blue Jays Baseball Club may not be rebroadcast in any form without the express written consent of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Jimmy Key can shoot the outside corner at the knees against right-handed sluggers as well as any pitcher in baseball. And just when you start leaning over, he busts you inside. Like
There's
that.
a 2-2 stroke as Gruber just went down and stayed in the pile, made no move on that ball.
Remember in Boston yesterday, either he hit his knee with a bat on the backswing or his knee gave out. And when he tried to push off that foot, the right leg, he goes down from that left field camera. And Kelly has been playing with a sprained ankle. I don't know if that was the cause or if it was the knee.
He's all right. He hopped up right away, but as they say, could make no attempt to get to the ball, which he may not have gotten to anyway.
You know, we saw this in Cleveland, Jimmy Key's last start. After all the innings in May, he didn't quite have the fastball hard enough to come inside, and that's what just happened to Bragg. He tried to get the ball inside, but he doesn't have enough zip on it at this point. They may have to back off him for a start, maybe give him an extra day rest or something. The bullpen struggled in April. Some of the starting pitchers pitched a lot. Flanagan's shoulders down.
This is Greg Brock, who had his own opening day a short time ago. He was sidelined at the start of the season due to shoulder surgery, recovered from. And then he debuted with a 3-run shot off Mike Witt to give the Brewers and tonight's pitcher Don August a 4-1 win. Back to first, almost. Bragg taking liberties with a left-handed pitcher with a good move.
You know, he wasn't off that far, and he's leaning back, but Jimmy was so quick that Freddie McGriff thought he was going to get the call from Mike Riley.
He sure did.
It was awfully close.
Push down the third base side. Gruber not in, has to react quickly to get him at first base. Bragg takes second.
So, Tom Sebalorn, as he did in the first inning with Robin Yount, plays one base at a time with Greg Brock to advance Bragg to second base. And when you're struggling to get runs, as the Brewers have, you're going to try and play base to base.
Got to grind away, and it worked for him, as you suggested, back in the first inning. Now the catcher, B.J. Sturhoff, out that outstanding U.S. Olympic team in '84, and one of many.
Had a good first year, struggled most of last year. A lot of players did, playing with a better baseball.
But he's been a J killer. 359 lifetime and 387 last year was his average against Toronto. He's got a short, compact swing and a lively bat.
What he needs to do, though, against left-handers like this is try to go up the middle or the opposite way. When he had the good year 2 years ago, he may have gotten to trying to pull the ball too much. Last year, they started him off batting third, and it was just too much for him.
Well, he's a much better hitter against right-handers than he is lefties by about 75 points.
And usually the batting average isn't the only indicator nor the true one. It's usually the slugging percentage goes down, as does the on-base percentage. Two more important statistics than batting average.
Chops it foul.
It'll be interesting to see how George Bell's knee and Lloyd Mosey's back hold up with more space to cover. Boy, those gaps in left and right center field are a lot larger than an exhibition stadium.
I guess on the plus side, supposedly there's a better cushion, a better spring to this carpet, although it's still a carpet which neither man enjoys. As we say, the carpet layers left about 4:30 this afternoon. It was cutting it a little bit close. I mean, this place we walked in was still a bit of a mess, not like it has been, but it looks like a regular baseball park that's been in use for years right now.
Well, the hard hats work around the clock. Boy, those laborers got out there, and they really, electricians and the plumbers and all else, and Brad Bujo's crew, the ground supervisors, they were out here day and night.
Well, it became an immense matter of civic pride in Toronto and indeed all of Ontario. Very, very proud of this new facility, and people will be pouring in, A, to see the Skydome, and B, to see what's going on. There's a shot. Fernandez goes over and takes the other end of the double play.
Bad base running by Brad.
He got burned. And the Jays go to work, got a 1-0 deficit in just a moment from the Skydome on the Bats Blue Jays Baseball and CTV. Kubek Burgialver back with you for the first of many times, we hope, from Toronto's proud new Skydome. And it is a dome, not this evening anyway. The sky is the operative word of a pleasant night in Toronto. George Bell about to get his first at bat in this new facility. Then Fred McGriff, then Lloyd Mosby. And with no fly balls, really, we can't tell you how the ball carries. We don't know yet. Given line drives, infield ground outs, base hits, doubles, but nothing that can gauge how a ball is going to carry.
Well, we do know there will not be the wind factor here as there was at Exhibition Stadium, where it was always helping the ball out to right field.
I don't think there's the wind factor in Antarctica that there was at Exhibition Stadium.
Don August last year did win 13 ball games. His last outing against California, he pitched well. Started the season well, but they didn't get him any runs, and then he went into a tailspin.
Originally chosen by the Astros in June of '84. And the Major League Draft took place today for '89. Blue Jays second infielder named Grosky, young man, chosen 19th of all the Major Leaguers selected. Well, we'll see how it carries now. Just foul. Just foul. Put to the last minute shy of the pole into the seat.
There was a breaking ball that hung upstairs from George Bell. He hit it off the end of the bat. Didn't hit it well at all.
Didn't carry badly for a ball hit off the end of the bat.
I think it's interesting, even on a long foul ball, you got people yelling and screaming. The 4-game series, the Tigers are coming in June 9th, a night game. Will Sparky Anderson back? Rumors are that he might be back, feeling a lot better. He's been golfing out in his home, Thousand Oaks, California.
Now we sure hope he gets back by this weekend.
And would you bet that after 50-plus games, the Tigers would be last? Toronto second last, and the Milwaukee Brewers third from the bottom of the East, with Baltimore leading by 5 games.
Well, the only prediction I would have made that might have been right was Detroit to be last. The rest, I had no idea.
Well, Baltimore, interestingly, Baltimore is in Yankee Stadium today. They have a 3-0 lead.
Again?
Yesterday, Barfield had 2 home runs against Milwaukee. Today, he made an error in the first inning, allowing all 3 runs to score. So Baltimore.
Bell becomes a base runner via the walk. And here's Fred McGriff. How accurate, Tony, is the 328 block down the line and right?
Oh, I think that's accurate, but I don't think the right center and the dead center field dimensions are right, according to what people tell me. Of course, in Exhibition Stadium, they had 330 there. It's really about 314. Look out, folks. Here's Christensen.
There's your first home run. Fred McGriff with the Jays lead 2-1. Well, you can't call it a homer dome just yet because that ball would have been gone anyway.
The way the Blue Jays left-handed hitters have been swinging over the last week, I wouldn't want to be a right-handed pitcher against them.
Polidor at second, up with a Mosley ground ball, first out of the inning.
The only left-handed hitter down who's not swinging the bat well in the lineup today is Tony Fernandez. Every one of the other left-handers have been hot. Felix, we know about him. McGriff, Liriano, Mosby, Mullis, and Wick all have been swinging the bat very well.
And you know Fernandez, the switch hitter, is going to get things turned around eventually. McGriff's 13th of the year. He joins the American League leaders. Ernie Witt yesterday with a grand slam, and the ovation for him in part due to that from Fenway 24 hours ago. His third career grand slam. That lead, by the way, in all the years of Boston Red Sox baseball, was the most that team had ever given up, a 10-run lead. They searched those records and found that to be the case. Stroked again to the second baseman, Polidor, 2 away.
That was the 10th home run that Don August had given up. Show you what a lot of his problems come from.
Little long ball-itis. 2-1 Toronto on the home second. Rance Mullick. Couple of runs in and 2 gone.
This is the kind of park that a Rance Mullick, in the prime of his career, would have a lot of fun in. He played in Kansas City, and a lot of the players that came in here said this reminds them of Kansas City. Not the Skydome, but the distance to center field and right and left center field. And Mullick is a gap hitter. He uses the whole field, so he'd get a lot of doubles in this park in the prime of his career.
That's about the only thing, speaking of Royal Stadium, they didn't get in here. And it might come in eventually, is a waterfall at center field, but there's no room for it. You got restaurants and skyboxes and scoreboards and all sorts of great people things. Rance to left. Bragg's measuring it on the warning track and goes a long way to get the third out. But the highlight of the night was this shot by McGriff. The Skydome has collected its first home run in the left field seat. The Jays lead 2-1 on Labatt Blue Jays baseball. And to the top of the third we go, the Skydome. On a beautiful evening, Blue Jays lead 2-1 on this park's first home run by Freddie McGriff in the last half inning. Felder, Polidor, and Molitor for the Milwaukee Brewers here in the third. You were saying, Tony, before the game that Mike Felder likes to be called Tiny Felder. I think I know why. He's hitting 171. A tiny average anyway.
Well, he's a good little bench player. You can play defensively and you can pinch run with, but with Yount out and a number of other injuries, he's in the lineup. He's got a lot of speed. He's a switch hitter. He's going to beat this one out. They're going to find out what the role is now here in the Skydome, and they find out that it is fairly true. All that while, Ernie Witt was looking. They're going to tag him. Did he make an attempt? We'll see what Riley says. He's safe. A runner can be in fair territory, as Felder was, but he did not make an attempt to go to second base. And all the while that ball was trickling down, Ed Barron was yelling. He's the first base coach to Felder. Watch the ball, watch the ball. And Ernie and Gruber and Key were watching the ball, but out of the corner of the eye watching Felder so he wouldn't go to second. You got to remember there's a guy in this ballpark playing right field now for the Blue Jays. Felix, who twice at Syracuse this year bunted. And while they were waiting for it to roll foul, he ended up with a double twice. That'll give you an idea of Felix's speed.
Well, they got the lay of the land anyway, but that acted in a peculiar fashion because it stayed straight and then hung a hard left as it ran out of gas. So they'll have to read a few more of those before they know how it's going to behave.
Well, you had a chance to see that it's almost like a pool table service. It is completely flat. In the Dome Stadium, you don't need a natural drainage from the mound. It usually slopes down so the water runs off. And the mound is 10 inches high, but it is a true 10 inches. And the pitcher, I think it's another reason why it'll be a pitcher's ballpark. The pitcher looks down at the hitter, and he gets a lot of leverage under this kind of mound and this kind of surface.
But as we look back, there was no cheap home run from Fred McGriff. But he got it out of here with his strength. Felder, by the way, at first base with Fred. He stole 34 bases 2 years ago, but he's being driven to second, and he will hold right there with a pass in from Mosley. First and second, nobody out. Brewers in the third.
Jimmy Key's going to have to do as much with Dial today. He gets a changeup up in the strike zone for Gus Polidor, the number 9 hitter.
That's his fourth base hit that Key has given up.
It seems like the start through May, again, I'm not going to beat it to death, but the innings that Jimmy Key has pitched, that he just hasn't had the quick fastball as much the last few starts.
Well, you've seen that in the past with Steve. You know, it's just too much of a good thing, and we're tempted to keep running a man out there every 5 days the way he wins for you, but you do pay a price in doing that. Crack down to the shortstop, Fernandez. Flex Laureano. Wall made. Do not get a double play. Molitor beats it out on the back end.
Tony Fernandez got out of the ball as quickly as he could and shuffled it to Laureano as quickly as he could. And just Molitor's speed that prevents the double play. A little bit caught in the glove perhaps, but it was a tough play for Tony. He had to charge it hard. The Brewers team has some speed. We just saw Molitor. Yount is a good runner. Sheffield runs very well. Felder runs very well. And he's got about 4 base stealers in this lineup.
Yeah, no one great threat, but a lot of guys who can hurt you with some speed. So here's Robin Yount now with runners at first and third and 1 out, trailing the Blue Jays 2-1 in the third.
A tough guy to double up. Robin hits the ball the opposite way so well.
Pitch is wide from Key. It is ball 1 to Yount. Yount is hit in 9 of 11 games for Milwaukee, a stretch during which he has hit .385. There were only 4 Ironmen on the major leagues last year, and Yount was one of them. Along with Will Clark, Eddie Murray, and Cal Ripken, they're the only major leaguers to play in all of their team's 162 games.
Well, he's playing his 268th consecutive games tonight.
The 1-1.
Squeeze is on, folks.
And they score with it.
Now, it's a foul ball. It hit the batter. No, they don't. They hit the batter in the box. And immediately, Rocky Rowe, the home plate umpire, calls the play, says it's a foul ball. So, it was a suicide screen off third. Molitor was not running off first, so we'll see what happens. It's right off his left shin, and a good call, and a very, very quick call by Rocky Rowe. Jimmy Key was going after it. I think he was yelling while he was running to Rocky Rowe, who sensed the play immediately.
And Felder was on top of the plate almost at the moment of contact. So just a moment of anxiety for the Blue Jays. Yount will reload.
Well, Tom Trebelhorn is a very unpredictable manager. He does have powers through his lineup, but it hasn't produced a whole lot aside from Deere this year.
And that's been frustrating for a team expected to hang up big offensive numbers.
And that's why Tom Trebelhorn really has done what he has. He sacrificed twice already today in the first and the second inning. But there's the old philosophy also. When you play for 1 run like that, sometimes that's all you get. You may have had a big inning.
Into center field for Mosby. Back goes Felder with the tag. Now he will score the run. And we are tied at 2.
There are not too many players in the game that can do the things Yount can. Even with a bad finger, first of all, he bunts with him to try and squeeze to protect the finger. And even at that, Robin gets behind, and he gets you the sac fly. There are certain players who know how to play the game like Yount and Molitor, who do what they have to do in every situation. He's one of those guys. And I'd rather have a guy like Robin Yount or Molitor who may not be sensational all the time, but they never make mistakes. Instead of a guy who's sensational one week and not so hot for another week.
Well, they are marvelous individuals playing a team game the way it should be played as part of that team, making things happen. Gary Sheffield is the hitter.
Dwight Gooden's nephew, who took off on the Milwaukee Brewers team about a week ago, saying that his pitching staff was not protecting him, they were knocking him down, and they were not helping him out. And then he took off on the manager in the press in the Milwaukee area, saying that Tom Sevelhorn and the coaches were overcoaching him, and that's why he's struggling. He's still young, and he is a terrific talent.
Well, not just a nephew, as you say, but really he'd use Uncle Dwight as a role model. One strike count to Sheffield. Monitor first base. A run in. 2-2 in the top of the third inning.
That's why they try and pitch him inside and why he gets brushed back so often. He stands straight up with a very close stance, and he dives into the ball 8-10 inches.
Sure does.
He's got a very quick bat. The late Harvey Keene, when he first saw him as a kid when they signed him, said he's a 30-30 man, 30 home runs and at least 30 stolen bases.
Well, I'll tell you why the Brewers and everybody else was salivating over him when he was in high school, Sheffield. He batted .500 in high school. He averaged a home run every 4 at-bats and didn't strike out once in 62 trips to the plate as a high school senior. Now, if that isn't enough, he went 6-3 as a pitcher with a 131 earned run average.
They talk about his toughness, too. He doesn't get scared at the plate. Nolan Ryan too close to him a couple of times this year. He just gets back off the ground. Ryan almost hit him another time. Got off the ground, hit a home run off him.
Tough kid. Just 20, as we said. Into the power alley. Mosby will get there. So a long, loud final out from Sheffield. But using the bunt again to good advantage, Milwaukee comes back and ties the Blue Jays at 2. On Labatt's Blue Jays baseball from the Skydome on CTV. The viewers to the Skydome in Toronto. First of many occasions we'll be televising from this ballpark. The next will be Wednesday night against the same Milwaukee Brewers. Nelson Liriano for the Blue Jays starting it off. Nelson's been hot lately. He's hit in 15 of the last 17 games. 5 RBIs in the last 2 over at Fenway Park. Takes called strike 1.
And Manny Lee lost his job, didn't he?
What's that way?
With a sprained ankle.
I don't know if they're giving him the nickname of Wally yet. But it's kind of like that, the way he sat down with the injury, and Liriano, who looked like his career had taken a downturn, picked it right up and made the most of it. Slow bounding ball. It'll be tough to get in, but they do. So one gone, Junior Felix. The sensation will be next. And the Labatt's player of the game for Toronto receives a complete range of shaving products from Remington, the grooming company, including the Remington Ultimate Shaver. The shaver that shaves as close as a blade or your money back. Just one of the precision line of grooming products for men and women from Remington. Also, an amateur baseball team will be the guest of Remington at a future Blue Jays game here in the Dome.
Those of you who may have, Don, seen our game yesterday, not only saw the dramatic home run by Felix, but you also saw Marty Barrett, the Red Sox second baseman, go down in a near collision with Freddie McGriff. He has had surgery, and he's going to be out quite a while.
Well, they were at first hopeful, and so was Marty, that maybe it wasn't as bad as first suspected. He thought maybe just a twisted knee, but as you say then, further examination revealed the need for the knife.
And with Detroit coming in after Milwaukee, Jack Morris may be gone for a while. He is having his injured arm re-examined again. So they're breaking down in this division.
They weren't too sound coming in.
And the Blue Jays have got to watch for that, too, as Flanagan's shoulder. Leiter's still having some shoulder problems. Steve with some shoulder problems now.
Around goes Felix, the ball and 2 strikes. Flanagan, you might have seen the note today with his great sense of humor. They said, how's your tendinitis? He said, I'd rate it a 5-initis. Not that bad. Not a 10. There he is.
He pitched that big complete game shutout against Oakland, and since then he hasn't been the same.
Unassisted, the out by Brock. 2 gone for Tony Fernandez. Unlike yesterday's marathon at Fenway, better part of 5 hours, this one in the Dome is moving rapidly along. And so far, they're holding their own. Oddly enough, you go back to the last 3 Dome openers, and the home team did lose those games. Houston, Montreal, and Seattle all happened to lose their inaugural game under the roof, but they're in a dome, but it's not a dome tonight.
What happened to Minnesota? You going to have a report on this?
Minnesota won there in 82.
Got a sinker ball and a good changeup going out. August.
Sure does. The Blue Jays go very quickly here in the third. We'll get Tony to take you along the next little while in a moment on the best Blue Jays baseball on CTV.
They can talk of various skylines around the world. New York City, Chicago with 3 of the 5 tallest buildings in the world. But what tops this? The new Skydome, the CN Tower, all but on the shores of Lake Ontario. Has about 52,000 people in the inaugural game in Toronto's own Skydome. Watch Jimmy Key and Don August in a 2-2 ball game.
You have to go back a few years, but at one time, not that long ago, the skyline of this town was dominated by the Royal York Hotel.
Route here. Take the pitch down low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Here grounded out in the first. The Brewers manufactured a run. The double a sacrifice and a ground out by Sheffield in the first. 2-1 now to Rob Deere. It's Freddie McGriff in a 4-way tie for the home run lead in the American League. Bo Jackson, Mickey Tettleton, the Baltimore catcher. They set up the middle, so Jimmy Key once again upstairs in the strike zone. And for the 4th straight time, 4 innings, the Brewers have had the first runner on, and you are playing with trouble. And this happens consistently.
That's 5 base hits off Key now.
Mauser doubled open the first, Bragg singled open the second, Felder bunted single in the third, and now Deere with a single to open the 4th. Glenn Bragg. Freddie McGriff manufactured the 2 Blue Jays run in this tie ball game. After Bell walk, hit one deep to left center for a home run.
Now standing side by side as you look at Bragg down at first base, a total of now 25 home runs, 13 on the right, 12 on the left.
It is not just the opening of a new domed stadium. It is a happening in this area. All you got to do is talk to the fans. The stadium cost $465 million. What was the cost of Exhibition Stadium? Is there a trivia quiz?
A whole lot less than this, but you got a whole lot less too.
Well, the brainchild of the original dome in Houston, the late Judge Roy Hoffman, that cost less than $25 million to build.
Can you believe that?
Not all inflation. Fouled out of play.
Of course, the Seattle Kingdome came in at 55, but that was a low-budget operation from day one. King County said to keep the cost down, and they got themselves a dome, but not fancy.
I don't know if there will ever be the kinds of dollars around to build another one just like this.
You wonder. Well, the Japanese want the roof technology. They're thinking of buying that in spades.
1 ball, 2 strikes, a man out in a 2-2 ball game. Hit deep to left field. George Bell is going to watch it go. 4-2, Milwaukee Brewers. Jimmy Key cannot get the ball down in the strike zone, similar to his last outing in Cleveland. Now, we've seen some balls hit very hard and down in Atlanta over the weekend. Saw a bunch of home runs there. Not unusual there. Did you see what the Chicago Cubs did yesterday in St. Louis? That great pitcher's ballpark. The Cubs hit 6 home runs, and Dawson's not in the lineup. Very unusual. A little breaking ball up in the strike zone. Glenn Bragg gives the Brewers that 4-2 lead. Now it's Greg Brock. He sacrificed in the second. Breaking ball, a little too high. And the Blue Jays bullpen is a little bit torn up. Vice disabled. Hernandez going, what, a little over 6 innings yesterday. Just called up from Syracuse. Wells pitched 3 on, what, Saturday. Came in for 1 hitter yesterday. Marty Barrett. We've got to have a starter in case Steve can't go. That may have to be Frank Wills.
That's what they're thinking of because Hernandez with a long outing at Fenway.
Dwayne Ward pitched 3 yesterday. The Chicago Cubs at Wrigley Field have their bleacher bums, their cheering section. Well, Blue Jays have their own little bleacher section by the bullpen.
Sort of like Kilroy was here years ago peering over the fence, aren't they? They do have a television monitor or will out there to be able to follow the game a little better.
3-1 count. Chop foul, it goes full. A lot of the conditions in this Skydome are yet to be found out about. What happens when the sun is bright during the daytime? Fastball, Jimmy King gets Greg Brock. His first strikeout of the ball game. He ran the count full, and from that center field camera you see when we talk about a cut fastball, it's a little fastball from the left-hander. The left-hander just sails away a little bit.
Well, thinking of what you said about Wrigley and the Blue Jay bullpen hanging in out there, and considering the ownership of this team, you might call these guys Labatt's bleacher creatures.
You might, and then again, you might call them bleacher bums.
They're not bums.
Square off, lined into a double play. Bad base running by Bragg back in the second inning. Strike, fellas, Rocky Road. You know, another thing I think is going to happen in this ballpark, and I do not think it will be allowed as the closed dome in Minnesota where the visiting clubs had to put earplugs in. Breaking ball inside. When the Cardinals went in there for the World Series, it was so loud. The din was incredible. The pitchers and the coaches wore earplugs, as did Alex Gramich, the third base coach for the Detroit Tigers League Championship Series. Exhibition Stadium, the sound goes nowhere. It sounds like the crowd is very quiet. It's just blown out of that stadium. I don't think it's going to be that way here. Apparently they had a decibel check. There's some meters here when they had the 50-some thousand in here on Saturday. It was loud, but not like Minnesota.
They're going to have some loud concerts in here, too, as the days roll off.
And some mellow operas, I understand. 2-2, 1 out. Good breaking ball. So the two left-hand hitters, Brock and Surhoff, back-to-back. Struck out by Jimmy Key. Sweeping off-speed curveball. Now it's Mike Felder. He went to the 2 years ago when he came up to the Brewers radio broadcasters, Pat Hughes and Bob Uecker, and said, call me Tiny. I don't like Mike. Mom called me Tiny. Hernandez with a patented underhand throw. 6-3. So the Brewers come up with a couple more. Deere single, Bragg, the 2-run home run. They trail it 4-2. You're watching the back. Blue Jays baseball from the Skydome on CTV. Already in the Skydome, McGriff and Bragg. And the fans obviously in center field. Sterile glass enclosure. Saw themselves on TV.
Having a better dinner than we had.
You wonder, with Kelly Gruber stepping in, a big curveball from August. Gruber singled in the first. You wonder if the sun, when it's in the south, when the dome's open for day baseball, if that'll reflect off that glass in center field into the hitter's eyes.
Good
There are
question.
a lot of things that no one knows at this point. Find out as you get about a dozen or so games in here. 1-1. Hit hard to left field. Has this got a chance? Bragg's over. It is off the padded fence. Kelly will head for 2. A laser beam off the padding in left field by Gruber. He's 2 for 2 in the ballgame.
He didn't miss it by much. The fences here are 2 feet shorter than Exhibition Stadium. 10 feet in height, 12 over there, and this hit just a couple of feet from the top.
Okay, we've got 2 pitchers right here who are off-speed pitchers pitching up in the strike zone, and you see what happens when you're not overpowering your pitch up there. George Bell walked in the second. He scored in front of Fred McGriff, 2-run home run that tied it, and then Bragg broke the tie with his 2-run home run. Little high.
I guess the real test of power, and the home runs and the shot by Kelly was a good one, too, won't really come until the roof does get closed some night. We'll really see how it behaves. Right now, it's mostly open. It's just like a normal ballpark in a bowl effect.
Slider right on the outside corner, 1-1 to George Bell. Kelly Gruber from that angle. See if he tries to relay at least the location. Sometimes if it's a fastball, we put the hands on the hip. If it's a breaking ball, put the hands away. You can give location with open hand, closed hand, all kinds of signs that are preset. Chopper, Gruber will get to third base. Good base runner by Kelly. And Sheffield throws Bell out. But Gruber very alertly, they teach you, unless you've got outstanding speed and reaction, the ball to the left side, especially when you're behind, to hold at second base. But Kelly read it well. Now it's McGriff. Listen to that.
Will Fred McGriff be the dugout to the Skydome on opening day?
Good hard. Here comes the throw. Gruber is out. An outstanding play by Brock. And Kelly had a good jump. He's going to argue with Rocky Rowe. Thought the tag was missed by B.J. Surhoff. Tito Gaston comes out to try and save his player Gruber from getting thrown out. Gets between him and the umpire. You know, when Kelly hit the dirt, you wonder with that moist dirt, he's stuck. They talked about how earlier Fergie gave a report how it's moist and the ground is breaking up. An outstanding throw by Brock. And watch Kelly.
Ooh,
oh, man. Brock with a nice throw. He was conceding the run, but it was hit so hard from McGriff. And Surhoff tries to block him off. I don't know if he ever touched him. Look at Surhoff. He waved at him. Kelly may have gotten the corner of the plate.
I think he did.
It was awfully close. Rocky Rowe looking straight down at the call. But there are 2 outs. And it is still a 4-2 game. Brewers ahead. That is an outstanding play by Brock. Whether he got him in home plate or not, a good white tag or attempted a tag by Surhoff, but Brock made an outstanding throw. And first baseman usually have the weakest arms on the field. He's the man who the Dodgers got, Greg Brock, to try and replace Steve Garvey, and he never could live that down. Look at the foot planted. He's safe.
Yes,
he
absolutely.
is safe. So Rocky Rowe missed the call. That high home plate camera is very telling. What might have been, folks, might have been 4-3 with just 1 down. As it is, it's still 4-2 with 2 outs. Mosby grounded out in the second. Foul back. Surhoff couldn't find it. That's another place that this becomes more of a pitcher's park. From that angle there, you can see how much foul territory there is. Look at between the foul line and the stand. In Exhibition Stadium, a lot of those balls that go out of play. In this ballpark, they can be caught by a first, third baseman, or a catcher. Just like Oakland.
Well, another couple of reasons why it could indeed be a pitcher's park.
Yet to be seen when they close the dome, if fly balls like the Houston Astrodome, Minnesota, Seattle, if the outfielders lose the ball in the roof. Hanging curveball, this ball and may have been carried. Pierre is back to the track. It settles in his glove. Promising start to the day. It's a double. Outstanding play by Brock. This call by Rocky Rowe. So, after 4. Brewers 4, Blue Jays 2. You're watching Labatt. Blue Jays.
The best seat in the house. It's out here on the second level. We got some wild and crazy fans out here. The tickets are $15. I'm not sure whether they like their seats or not. Do you like your seats out here?
Yeah.
They love them. Now, this restaurant right beside me here is Windows of the Skydome. It is the cheapest seat in the house. Only $3 a ticket. and it's a buffet. Now, the buffet is $23.95. You could have a 5:30 seating. They will sit over 350 people. Same at 7:30. But that is the cheapest seat in the house. Not a bad view out here from right field, Tony.
All right, Fergie, you're really moving around. And while you're moving around in this 4-2 ball game with Jimmy Key trailing, 2-run home run by Bragg, the 2-run home run by McGriff. Gus Polidor, he was ahead in the count. 5 balls, Junior Felix, 1 down in the 5th. And a very special guest in our television booth that we'll spend a little time with, the Minister of Sports, Canada, John Charette. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Tony. Pleasure being here.
Give me your impression of this fabulous place.
Oh, it's very impressive. It's the first time I've ever been here, like most people, I guess, and it looks very, very good all around. I think it's probably the best multi-purpose stadium in the country.
Well, I think on the continent, maybe the world. This is going to be hard to beat, isn't it?
It's going to be very hard to beat.
Good to have you as a guest. Hope you can stick around for this half inning and converse with Don and me.
Thank you.
1 strike to and 1 out to Paul Molitor, who doubled and scored in the first and grounded out. Molitor has been plagued his entire career with a lot of injuries. Hand injuries, hamstring pulls, and when he is not in the Brewers lineup, especially playing third base where he's so good defensively, their offense struggles. They don't call him the igniter for nothing.
Last time I was with a guest was at the Baseball Hall of Fame dinner, I guess, 4 weeks ago, and that was a great night, Tony. Too bad you missed it. Whitey Ford, your old buddy, kind of stole the show.
That was a pretty good day, along with Mr. Charette, Willie, Mickey, and the Duke. You see many ball games, sir?
Not many ball games, and it's the first one I've ever seen in Toronto, so I wanted to choose the ball game of the year.
I think you're going to get spoiled after you see a game here.
You waited through all those chances at Exhibition Stadium and just happened to be here on the 5th of June. Huh?
Yeah, it's a good coincidence that I happened to drop in.
Good choice.
It may be a difficult question to answer, but what does a facility like this mean to a city like Toronto?
Well, it means a lot of opportunities. Essentially, it means that the city of Toronto will be able to host a lot of international events that otherwise it cannot hope to host. And among the events that are foremost in our minds is the 1996 Summer Olympics that the city of Toronto will be bidding for. So that's one of the great ambitions of not only the city, but of Canada.
I would think with a facility like this, Toronto ought to be at the top of the list.
Well, it becomes a pretty powerful argument.
1 out. Molitor on first after a walk. Yount has sacrificed, no at bat, and a sacrifice by RBI. So he does not have an official at bat in this ball game, but he has contributed twice. 1-1.
See what the Orioles are doing now over against the Yankees, 11-0. They lead the Bronx former Bombers.
I tell you, their pitching staff has gone down the drain. Baltimore's won 9 of their last 10, 7 in a row. The only team in the Eastern Division above the 500 mark.
Of course, as we saw yesterday, 10 and 11-run leads don't always stand up. Boston's didn't, and the other one in Milwaukee with the Yankees almost didn't.
Brewers 4, Blue Jays 2, 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out with a man on first base. Top foul by Robin Yount. 3-game series, the Seattle Mariners, they're playing very good baseball under their new manager, Jim Lefevre, here at Toronto. June 16th, 7:35 p.m. start. If you're thinking of getting tickets for any of the Skydome ball games, I'd suggest you hurry. I don't know how many are left, but as the word gets around, you're going to want to see a ball game here in person.
You know, it's going to happen like at the Big O in Montreal when that stadium opened after the Olympics. The folks who couldn't get there kept coming for Alouette football games, whatever they could.
Right by Freddie McGriff. He will not be able to go to third base as Molitor had a hold up so he wouldn't get hit by the line drive. And that'll show you how much Robin Yount contributes. He was shooting the ball or trying to shoot it through the gap to set up a double play and hopefully get a first and third. And the late Charlie Lau will call that situation hitting. When you hit the ball, the most likely spot you're going to get a base hit. You've got to be able to execute, but that's where the gap was. Only because Molitor had to stop as Freddie McGriff had him by the shoelace and still a look. Molitor didn't go to third, so they're 2 on with 1 out for the 3-hitter, Gary Sheffield. He grounded out, but drove in a run, also his slide out. Curveball, line drive off Tony's glove. Molitor will score the 5th Brewers run. 5-2, still runners on first and second, and Jimmy Key just can't get the ball down in the strike zone. I guess, Mr. Shep, this is the first time you've seen Jimmy Key pitch. You're not seeing him at his best. He has really struggled his last couple of outings after pretty much of a brilliant May early on.
And we haven't seen anybody in the bullpen. It's been unusual, but I guess for a first game in a new stadium, you have to expect the unusual.
Yeah, they're tattooing a lot of high pitches right here. Now it's one of the co-leaders of the home run league, along with Freddie McGriff and 2 others, Rob Deere, who was single, scored a run and grounded out. Drop foul.
Did you hear about 4:30, John, when they moved the roof and they opened it up? It was quite a sight. It was so silent and so efficient.
Well, I haven't seen that happen yet, though I've heard a lot about the roof moving, and it seems it's one of the roofs that's going to work the best, notwithstanding some of the foul-ups they've had from time to time.
There's still a few glitches, but a sinker ball that bounces gets by Ernie Witt as Yount and Sheffield advance to third and second, respectively. So now, here with first base open, perhaps will be walked. But let's see. Braggs is up behind him with a home run, and there's a base open with 1 out, but tough to pitch around here with Braggs there. Now they'll have to come in at the corners. Tony Fernandez comes in halfway, as does Liriano. Can't afford to give him any more, trailing by 3. It was a pitch that was blockable by Ernie Witt, but he reached for it with his glove and just batted it behind him. Popped up, right side. Liriano will battle this guy, and he has got it. Runner will not be able to advance from third. Nelson's been out several times over the last couple of weeks working on pop-ups. Remember earlier on, a couple of weeks ago, he missed the pop-up. First inning of the ball game and led to 2 runs. So they're now 2 outs with a couple runners on. 1 run home. A little bit of a twilight kind of sky where the ball gets above the light. A little bit hard to pick up. Vito Gasson's going to come out with Braggs and first base open. Brock and Suroff to follow. 2 left-handed hitters. And both Brock and Suroff in the 4th were struck out by Jimmy Key. So Frank Wills, who some thought may be a starting pitcher, he couldn't go, begins to loosen up. I would guess they're going to intentionally walk Braggs with that 2-run home run in the 4th. And I see those strip basically was not just to put him on, to ask, they decided to put him on, but also to give Wills a little bit of time to warm up and to check to see the condition of Jimmy Key. I guess, Mr. Minister, and it may not be the time to bring up at a baseball park, one of the toughest things you've ever had to do involves the great sprinter from Canada, Ben Johnson.
Yes, and we put forward this Dublin inquiry to look into the whole issue of doping in sport, including the events surrounding the Seoul Olympics. And I think most Canadians have found that the Dublin inquiry has been doing a good and very thorough job. We anticipate receiving the reports, and we're also active on the international scene, because what most Canadians ask us these days is whether or not other countries are going to do the same thing.
Well, this sounds like it will be a positive step, something that has been so negative for the international Olympic movement.
Well, very much so. We have to turn it into a positive step, and I think it'll be one of Canada's contributions to sport at the international level.
Sometimes it has to be done the hard way, but if it works, it becomes a very positive thing. 2 outs, bases loaded. Breaking ball strike to Greg Brock, who was sacrificed and struck out off Jimmy Key. 5-2 Brewers. Just the top of the 5th. Big curveball. No balls, 2 strikes. Greg Brock deep in the hole. Check play. The appeal goes down to the third base umpire. Dale Scott says, John, we'd let you do a little play-by-play here, but we might be out of work, so.
Yes, and
And nobody wants us in Ottawa.
and I have enough problems as it is now with conflicts of interest. I don't need more.
Curveball bounces. Nice block by Ernie. Well, we want to thank you, sir, for stopping by with us.
Thank you.
After any of the third voice
Don,
you've heard of
good to
reading
see you
for
again.
us has been the Minister of Sports in Canada, John Corrette. Our thank you, sir.
And fitness, I might add, which at least one of us here in the booth should look into.
Well, look, fitness. You better do a couple sit-ups. I'm watching him as he walks up the back here.
I met myself.
Either that or mix the salad in once in a while. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. The bases are loaded. Breaking ball got him. So Brock goes down, striking out the second time. Not before it. A walk to Molitor, a single by Yount. Sheffield a single. Makes the score Brewers 5, Blue Jays 2. You're watching the back. Blue Jays baseball on CTV.
And colitis. These diseases afflict over 200,000 Canadians. Your pledge will provide research funds to help find a cure for colitis and Crohn's disease. Pledge today.
Bottom of the 5th, Ernie Witt, Rance Molinek, Nelson Liriano against Don August. He has a 3-run edge. 5-2.
That strikeout by Brock to end the inning continues his frustration. He's hitless now the last 14 times at the plate with the bases loaded and 2 outs. 3 for 27 lifetime in that situation.
He did make a good throw in this ball game, although the replay shows from a couple of angles Gruber was safe, although called out by the home plate umpire. 1 ball, 1 strike to Ernie Witt. 1 and 2, and Ernie didn't like it. That ball's up if you lip reader. Oh, rocky roll. Ernie thinks anyway. Put him in the hole. Ground ball is going to be trouble. Finds the gap for Ernie Witt. Leads off the 6th. A defensive swing on a single ball, just trying to put it play. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And on this bouncy turf, he finds the hole between Molitor and Gary Sheffield. Now it's the DH Rance Molinek. Put a ball very deeply to left field. Ball that might have been out of Exhibition Stadium and some other little parks in this American League, but it hung up on the warning track. Rance now will probably be trying to turn on a ball, shoot it through the hole. I'm always surprised when you've got a slow-footed catcher like this on first base and Witt, and a slow runner at the plate, that the first baseman's holding him on. He's not going to steal down by 3, and you're giving the left-handed hitter against the breaking ball pitcher the hole to the right side, right where he's trying to hit it.
And that's what he does.
Ernie Witt will hold at second, so the runners on first and second. So we talked about Paul Molitor, situation hitting, putting the ball through the gap. You just saw Rance Mullins do it. He hooked that hand, the top hand, so he could drive it to the right side. Not hit hard, but to me, this is not good baseball. I'm not saying Brock would have gotten it. Polidor is skating up the middle, knowing he's going to try and pull the ball. And the Jays have something going.
Puts a lot of unnecessary pressure on a second baseman like this. You just can't get to it.
It looks like a very bouncy, very fast turf. Similar to what Minnesota had when they first opened up, and then they changed it. Liriano grounded out in the 3rd. Jays trying to put something together. They were looking for a bunt, and that's not a good play either. You're down by 3 runs. I don't think you want to give up an out this easily, especially Liriano's not going to ground in double play. He might, but if he does, it's an upset with his speed. I would guess Vito Gas is going to put the switch on with all this room and these guys try to let him hit. He's going to bunt again.
Good-looking bunt. Well, he gets the job done.
Throws him out. Squires is arguing that the ball was bobbled by the second baseman Polidor. He thought he did not have possession, and Liriano should have been safe. Liriano advances the runners to second and third.
I guess the thinking is with a big run producer on the weekend, Felix coming up next, get two guys in scoring position as fast as you can.
This is not good baseball. I don't care if it works if they score 8 runs here. Liriano from the left side is at a hot bat. Felix is at a hot bat. Neither of them is going to hit the double play. You play for a big inning while you're not just two. The way August has been struggling. He's got a lot of pitches upstairs. But Tito decides to play for 2. Junior Felix is grounded out twice. 5-2 Brewers.
He's also seen this kind of thing work for Troublehorn. Maybe he's got to get a piece of the action himself.
Except the Brewers aren't swinging like the bats.
Now.
The bats like the Toronto Blue Jays did, especially in Boston the last 3 days. They scored a passing around. There's Seb. Somebody knows his name in Milwaukee now. When he took the job, they didn't know if it was Troublehorn or what it was. Molitor is in case Felix bunts. Fastball outside, out of the strike zone. 2-0. You can see how Sheffield is shortened up because of Felix speed, as has Polidor. They're not playing to come home. They just know how fast he runs. Their scouting reports have told them about Junior's great sprinter speed. Felix goes after a bad pitch. Down and away. And that's telecast here on CTV. Wednesday. I don't know if Teddy Aguirre is scheduled to pitch one of those, or Basio. Both of them have had sprained ankles.
Basio, I think it is.
Aguirre is scheduled tomorrow, but he sprained an ankle. So we'll have to see if either of those two are ready for tomorrow and Wednesday. Breaking ball in the bench, 3-1.
Basio and Cerruti, the scheduled matchup on Wednesday. And tomorrow, Aguirre is listed against Mike Flanagan, so I guess you got 2 doubtfuls there, maybe.
3-1, 1 out. Blue Jays have runners on second and third, and that has excited the Skydome crowd. August has been pitching from the stretch. All right, hold that runner at second base a little closer. Change up into the back. 3-1, he pulled the string. You know, if you were going to look for the prototypical Skydome ball player, he's in your screen right now. Now, there are a lot of rough edges on Junior Felix because he's still only 21 years of age, but great speed to cover the outfield, great speed to take advantage of the turf, a switch hitter who hits the ball all over the field with a taste of power that we saw in Fenway Park yesterday, so he can get some balls out of here. Not a lot. You shouldn't try to be a home run hitter. But you want a lot of speed offensively and defensively in this ballpark.
He doubled his home run total on the weekend. He more than doubled his RBI total on the weekend at Fenway Park.
Full count pitch. Ball 4. The bases are loaded. FOB for the Blue Jays. And it brings up the slumping Tony Fernandez. Now Tom Trebelhorn begins to worry a tad. He still has a 5-2 lead. A school teacher until last offseason, where he became a little more secure with a new 3-year contract. Tony has grounded out twice. Neither time very hard.
He did hit a grand slam before he was hit on the face by Guante in Texas earlier this year.
Defense is swung around just slightly toward left field for Fernandez. Outside. August in the hole. Here comes Chuck Hartenstein, the pitching coach, to try and settle down August down. Hartenstein, member of the Blue Jays organization, at one time. They used to call him Twiggy, but since then he's added a couple of pounds. It's like, hey, John, what are you doing? You got a 3-run lead. What are you being so fine for? Every time you try it, you get in trouble. Throw strike, keep the ball down. Yes, those are the words of Hartenstein. He has seen a lot of pitchers going down.
Well, he's seen August have situations, let's put it that way, the last 2 innings. Gruber opened up with a double, then got nailed in a controversial call at the home plate. Now in this inning, 2 base hits and a walk, 1 gone, they're loaded.
Well, the Brewers have Mirabelle on the DL. Davis on the DL, Wegman on the DL. 3 pitchers, 2 of them left-handed. 2 balls, no strikes to Tony Fernandez. And August just aimed that last pitch.
He did.
They're loaded up. Witt, Mulnix, and Felix on the base path. The Blue Jays trailing by 3.
It has been said of August, he's the kind of pitcher at times makes you wonder how he does get people out. Relies on control and finesse, and right now he's wondering too.
Well, if you use the speed gun to scout him, and the pitcher said, nah, don't sign him, he doesn't throw hard enough.
That's right.
But he did win 13 games in the big leagues last year for this ball club. He does it a little bit like Jimmy Key does. He doesn't throw as hard. Jimmy's right, but change the speeds and moving on the ball in location. Fly ball left field. This is just for anybody.
Very shallow.
Bragg has it. Ernie just because he's got nowhere. 2 out. Tony tried to go the opposite way and uppercutted it perhaps a little too much. He got under it. So there are 2 outs for Kelly Gruber.
Another guy with grand slam potential.
Kelly 2 for 2 in the ball game.
He's got the tough half of the cycle still to come. He has done it, though, this year. The only time in Jays history at Exhibition Stadium.
You just go in the batter box against a guy like August and say, make him get the ball up. Most of the effective pitches are down around the knees or lower out of the strike zone. Now with Mulnix on second, Suroff flashed his signs, didn't like what he saw, perhaps being relayed by Rance, and they're going to do some sign switching. And again, like so many times, the pitch right now might be a verbal pitch, and they just say, here's what we're going to do on the first pitch or the first and second, depending on what happens. No matter what he flashes, you just throw what they just agreed upon. Witt and Mulnix single leading it off. Liriano's sacrifice. It turned out to have been a bad play. Felix walked. There are 2 outs. Just don't like giving up that out so easily with Liriano hitting as well as he has.
And lost the appeal and a strike to Mike Riley, so it's 1-0.
McGriff with a 2-run home run with Bell on board in the second inning. Bragg with a 2-run home run in the 4th with Spear on. Chopper, Molitor, better hurry. Here comes a flip throw, a nice play.
Ooh.
So the Jays, after the first 2 get on, come up empty. They leave the bases loaded. After 5-2 Brewers, you're watching the back. Blue Jays baseball on TV.
Suroff is great, but right now I'm on the 5th level. These seats up here directly behind home plate are $12 seats. The fans, they love their seats here, don't you? Yeah, they do. It's a great spot up here. Believe me, I love the view, Tony, and I wouldn't mind sitting up here to watch a ball game. Back to you, Chevy and Tony.
Say one thing, Fergie will do anything for a free seat, won't he?
He's sitting on somebody's lap right now. There are no free seats.
P.J. Suroff fouls the pitch down. The count goes to 2-1. It'll be Suroff, Felder, and Polidor. 7 runs have been scored in this ball game through 5. Brewers have 5. Each team left the bases loaded in the 5th. Jimmy Key has struggled. Off the 5th. Liriano to McGriff. 1 out in this set. And a reminder, the Labatt player of the game for the Milwaukee Brewers will receive something new under the sun. Canon's new Prima Shot. The world's first automatic camera with detachable infrared remote control. Compact with the latest technology and the remarkable removable remote control. Canon Prima Shot. Tiny Felder. Fun single, scored a run, grounded out. Strike 1. One ball, one strike.
Still can't figure Felder out. Most guys who are called Tiny would want to be called Mike.
Or Iron.
Yeah.
Breaking ball, strike 2. He's a valuable little guy to have around. There's so many injuries. A lot of Tom Trevorhorn's bench is playing. 2 balls, 2 strikes. A packed house in the Skydome. Jimmy Key, a hard fastball, and after Jimmy unleashed that one, he didn't look very comfortable. The way he shook that arm. A little extra something as Felder goes out of the strike zone. There are 2 outs. You don't need this guy to be pushed too hard this early in the season. Especially the month of May, which was very tough on him. Pitched a lot of good ball games and picked up a lot of the slack as Dave Steed struggled through May. Flanagan struggled through most of May. Jimmy with 4 strikeouts now. 1 strike count and just pulled it on. Two strikes now. Saw an old friend in the ballpark just before the ball game. His name is Pancho Ito. He's over from Japan. The PR director of the Pacific League there. Jimmy Key has got it. He gets Gus Polidor, and Pancho Ito said tomorrow night at 7:30 a delayed broadcast, 20 to 25 million people will be watching this inaugural game from the Skydome all over Japan.
Really?
We'll go to the bottom of the 6th. Brewers 5, Blue Jays 2. You're watching the match. Blue Jays baseball on CT. Back at the Skydome, there have been 450 media credentials passed out by Howie Starkman, Gary Oswald, the PR department, members of the media, 45 in the United States, USA Today, ESPN, CNN, all 3 major networks, ABC, NBC, CBS, This Week in Baseball, Sports Illustrated, here for a happening. Molitor, will he throw Bell out? He does. A fine play by Paul Molitor, hit sharply by Bell. It'll look like a simple 5-3 in the box score, but he's made 2 outstanding plays now. They thought of him as a shortstop when he first came up. In fact, most felt that he was a better shortstop than Robin Yount. He started Molly at second base. They moved him to center field. Because of injuries, he's DH. He made a great play earlier when that hearted shot went in foul territory and threw Kelly Gruber out at second base. Paul Molitor. Now it's McGriff, a 2-run home run and a ground out. Change up, 1-1.
Getting back to all the media here, I know the coverage today with the expected opening of the Dome tonight, very heavy in the United States newspapers, and they're here to see it for themselves and report tomorrow. So Toronto is going to be all over this continent in print and on television.
Up, end of the bat, 1-2. Steve Wolf of Sports Illustrated. He's interviewing architects and groundskeepers and trying to gather information on the ambiance of this ballpark in this great city. But if you're a Jays fan, you're not very happy because the Blue Jays are trailing by 3. Base hit. McGriff hits a good pitch. Shoots it to left center field, and you can see where speed comes in as Felder cut that alley off in a hurry. With 1 out, the Jays have a man on. Now it's Lloyd Mosby. It is a perfect pitch. Freddie not just 6'5", but he's got very long arms, stands way off the plate. It was a change-up low and away, and he went with it nicely. You know, Freddie McGriff might become a better hitter in this ballpark because the tendency in Exhibition Stadium, with the wind blowing out to right and the short porch, to want to pull the ball too much.
Everything, yeah.
And you leave the outside part of the plate. This park, you don't want to try and pull everything. You want to try it straight away. And if he does that, I think the average will go up. And I think he'll still hit his good share of home runs.
Both hits tonight. Same place, left center field.
1 ball to Lloyd Mosby. Neither pitcher has been particularly sharp. 14 base hits in the ball game. Top foul. With 1 out, Lloyd was trying to hook the ball through the right side like Molich did last inning. Yount got it through there earlier. It's been around baseball a long time, but the terminology changes. Now they call it situational hitting. They used to call it first starting a runner or hit behind the runner. The jargon of the field. Outside, 2-1 to Lloyd.
Thinking back to our conversation with John Charest, the Minister of Fitness and Amateur Sport, about the Olympic bid, John Pickett, our staff standpoint, that all this coverage has got to help Toronto's Olympic cause. That bid has got to be strengthened by the massive publicity from this stadium alone.
Well, you still got old exhibition stadiums that can be used for some of the venues. 3-1 from August to Mosby. Fred McGriff's on first with 1 out. He's being held by Greg Brock. Play by Molitor. Robbie's out of a base hit. Might become big. There goes Freddie. Strikeout, and he is safe. An unexpected stolen base by Fred McGriff, who is not shifted with good speed, but for... we're to a full count now.
Yeah.
Misread the count. Apologies. Good finger ball. Long time winding up for B.J. Suroff. Earlier this year, a couple of weeks ago, they put him on the bench because he did have some shoulder problems. Ball 4. So 1 out, 2 out. For Ernie Witt, who's 1 for 2 in the ball game, and out pops Tom Settlehorn. That was Freddie McGriff, 7 stolen base. They're going to go to the bullpen here. They have no view at all, and they do not have a bleacher section set for them, so they've got a guy to ladder something back there to send in. Relief pitcher, send the word. I don't know if the telephone system is not hooked up yet from the dugout to the bullpen with all the work left to be done here.
They might end up using flags or smoke signals or something to communicate. They have their own little rack of seats up there, though, and here comes relief.
So we're going to have a relief pitcher, Bill Kruger. Looks like had arm problems, went back to the minor leagues. The Oakland A's change early on. Talked to Bill before the ball game. He thought he was going to get a start within a couple of days. So apparently, Teddy Aguirre and Bosio are okay with their sprained ankles, which frees up Bill Kruger for a bullpen outing today. Now we may see Pat Borders as August leads. Border may come on the pinch hit for Ernie Witt. James trailing by 3 and 2 now. There's Pat down to the bullpen. Kruger, one of the good-looking young left-handers early in his career, had a great slider, threw hard. Then he hurt the elbow and arm problems for a considerable amount of the time. And while Kruger loosens up, and we wait to see if Borders is coming out for Witt, which looks to be the case, let's take the extra mile with Esso. Set and ready. This by Borders has not come out of the dugout. Ernie Witt still in the on-deck circle with tuning on. One time, Kruger's fastball was in the 90s with a slider as good as any. So much off-speed stuff.
He hasn't worked in a week. He did so against California last Monday in a 12-3 loss, where 2 2/3 gave up 4 hits, a couple of runs that were both earned.
He's had one game start, and this is Cougar's 12th relief appearance. So Ernie Witt will bat with 2 out and 1 out. Fastball strike.
Tito's probably thinking Ernie's been so hot lately, he'll leave him in there against all kinds of pitchers.
I don't know if Ernie will see any more fastballs after that one. I'm going to take a look at Cougar's delivery. When you're a platoon player, they feed you a steady diet of breaking balls. There's the first one, a curveball. 1-1. No matter which side you hit from, and Ernie's one of those, left or right, you throw him a fastball, you can turn it around. It's that breaking ball going away. It'll give you the promise. It is the first time. It might be a slider, number 3. We'll see. Slider bouncing the dirt. 2-1 now to Witt.
Oh, he gets a strike down to third base.
Wow, Ernie is just glaring down at the third base umpire, Dale Scott. He cannot believe it. He is now in the hole. I can't either. I thought it was 2 1. It's going to end up 1 and 2. Flip a coin. Either way, you're going to get an argument.
Your angle probably means everything.
I thought he checked it. But Ernie's in the hole. 5-2. Brewers ahead. 2 out, 1 out in the 6th. Breaking ball, blocked nicely by Sperhoff. The Brewers have 3 former outstanding defensive catchers on their coaching staff. Duffy Dyer, remember him with the Mets, backing up Jerry Grody. He's the third base coach. They've got Larry Haney, fine defensive catcher with Baltimore. Remember Andy Etchebarren? He's a catcher. Formerly in Baltimore, fine defensively. So if you're going to be a young catcher like Sperhoff or young Charlie O'Brien, the right-handed catcher, you're going to have some pretty good teaching. 2-2. He struck him out. 2 out. He got him on a fastball inside after he'd thrown 3 consecutive breaking balls. So Ernie, trying to protect against the curveball or slider, gets beat inside. Now, for Rance Molich, it'll be Pat Borders. Tito doing a little something different. When Jimmy Williams was here, he would pinch hit his right-handed catcher. Borders just takes his left-handed hitting catcher Witt. But with 3 catchers, Bradley in reserve, he's still got the reserve catcher he wants to go later on. Several aren't out now with Borders being put into the lineup. The home plate umpire, he may go with a right-handed pitcher. We've got Chuck Prim out there who's been very good out of the bullpen. Mark Knudsen pitching out of the pen to the right side.
What he's going to do.
So, we're going to see a right-handed pitcher come on for the Brewers, Mark Knudsen. Tito, is he calling over Rob Ducey? His left-handed pitcher on the bench. Was in Cleveland that Tito got in a pinch hitting thing and slip flap, and he used 4 players in 1 inning. With Witt, Borders, Friendly.
Didn't work out, but he did all the moves.
Well, he's trying to get the percentages, and we're seeing now why it's so important to have a balanced bullpen. Dave, that's David Wells down with the only left-hander. Ducey's got a helmet. Will he get it back? It's just the 6th inning. Tito Mayfield, 2 men on and 2 outs. They feel this is the last scoring opportunity. That's what a good closer will do to you, too. When you look at the closer, you look at the Brewers and Dan Plesac, who has saved a lot of games. Borders gone. Ducey will come on to pinch hit for Pat. Mullet pinch it for Borders. Borders doesn't get a hack. Ducey comes out. But when you look at this opportunity, the fifth, where the Jays left the bases loaded, and now the sixth, where they've got 2 on, you look down to the 9th inning and even the 8th and say, wait a second, they've got Dan Plesac there. And this may be our last chance.
Newsted came to the Brewers along with Don August, tonight's Milwaukee starter. In August, appropriately enough, 4 years ago, the Danny Darwin deal with the Houston Astros.
This is Knudsen's 15th ball game, all in relief, ERA, maybe below 3. He's not a power pitcher. Struck out 15, walked 12. Brewers pitching the last couple of weeks has been pretty good. Some of their hitters have started to come around after all the injuries. 3-game series, Red Sox, who have been beaten 12 consecutive times by Toronto in Fenway Park, which is incredible. Nobody's ever done that before. They'll be here beginning June 30th. A night game. Get your tickets early.
I would think they'll be looking for a spot of revenge.
5-2 Brewers. 2 out, 2 on. McGriff a single, Mosby a walk. Ducey does not have a base hit pitch. He's hitting this year. He's 0 for 4. After this, not many players left on the bench. The Cito Gaston that are known for their bats. Brentley's and Infante and Tony Lawless, the righty screen. 1 strike for Rob Ducey. Hard sinker right on the outside corner. Rob Ducey's in the hole. That's the pitch that Rob has worked on with Cito Gaston for a couple of years in spring training. He takes a lot of pitches from the middle of the plate out. Likes the ball inside part of the plate. When he does swing his pitches away with that uppercut, a little loop in his swing, he gets a lot of fly balls. There have been stretches, though. This spring was one where Cito Gaston had him leveling on that ball, hitting line drives to left field. If they stay out there, that's when Sherlock is set up. Came inside, fouled off, so the location was away, and Sherlock didn't like the pitch he saw. So didn't you see my sign and my location? I'm set up out there, and you come in. This is the guy's strength. 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 on. Jays trail by 3. We're in the bottom of the 6th. Change up away, 1 and 2. Third pitcher, Mark Knudsen. Used by Tom Trebelhorn, August, Kruger, and now Mark. Fly ball left field, but not deep enough to get away from Glenn Brown. Hit well by Rob Ducey. But the Jays ran a couple of more. That is 6. 3-6 on TV.
Back with you at Exhibition Stadium? No, the Skydome. New surroundings here for these fans of Toronto and how they are taking to it. A lot of baseball fans, tried and true, I'm sure, but a lot of casual fans when it comes to baseball we can expect to see here over the next number of weeks.
Well, just think of next year. You're playing 81 games played in this dome. You're looking at 3.5 million people. I mean, no matter what the Jays do, and they will be a contender, I think, next year again. I mean, they've still got youth. It's a matter of staying healthy and getting over that hump that has plagued them for a couple of years.
This is Paul Molitor standing in to start the Milwaukee 7th inning. Brewers spoiling the party here with a 5-2 lead. To recap for you, they struck for 1 on the first. Jays came back on the 2-run shot by Freddie McGriff, made it 2-1. Milwaukee scratched away, got another one back, 2-2. And then 2 in the 4th, 1 on the 5th. They lead it by 3 right now.
It's going to be very obvious to the baseball fans that you're seeing tonight why the mortality rate on pitchers in the American League is so much higher than the National League. The other league, Jimmy Key would have been pinch hit for already. And he would have had a chance to have maybe a loss, but at least a low-pitch ball game to come back stronger the next time. But they just keep going, and he struggled his last few outings, and he's pushing himself. And what does that do to him for the rest of the season?
Would he have been pinch hit for with a tired bullpen in mind coming out of that marathon in Fenway?
You pinch hit when you're down in the 5th and 6th inning by 3 runs. He's already pitched a lot of innings, as we said in May. A couple complete games, 2 8-inning outings, a 7-inning outing. It can really play havoc with your pitching staff. He's at 100 pitches now.
So he's getting close to limitations as Molitor makes him throw a couple more, fouling that into play.
Jimmy Key is doing something now that he did in spring training before he had the elbow surgery. He throws a hard pitch, and here he starts shaking the hand.
Yeah.
He had the bone chips taken out. And in the 260-plus inning a couple of years ago, he changed his delivery. The shoulder hurt. Then out from the bone chips in the elbow, had the surgery. He's starting to shake that hand again in some of his pitches.
Full count. It'll stay that way. And if you'll forgive me just this once, I have had the thought that when Minnesota and Seattle come here, this will be their dome away from dome.
I will not forgive you that thought. Never.
Didn't think so. Fernandez. One gone in the 7th.
In fact, that was one of those comments, the play on words, that I'm glad I didn't say. And hope you never do again.
Might have just beaten you to it. Robin out next.
Tony, without that hump. You know, Tony, I think, is saying that the grade on this new turf does funny things to the ball. You're going to have to read it like a putting green, but he doesn't have that hump in front of him, so he can play a little deeper. You might see even more good plays by Tony Fernandez because you'll be able to get a few more balls.
Well, there'll be an adjustment, obviously, as they go along in these new surroundings. 2 strikes to Robin Yount. Actually, we have, I think, the only souvenir from Exhibition Stadium right here in the Skydome tonight. I can't imagine what else would be here. Gets him on strike, 2 gone.
Pray tell, what is this souvenir?
Well, it's the desk, the television desk from the booth at Exhibition Stadium, which was brought over here to make up for a couple of problems we had and sight lines and everything, and it's here to ring in the new with the old.
They brought the relic with us, huh?
Yep, they brought us and the desk. That's last foul left side by Gary Sheffield. There are some problems in the television area. Some of the boxes' sight lines are not just the way they should be, so we made a very marvelous adjustment today to get this place organized. Like a new home, I guess. You move in and you have a list about 4 yards long to take to the builder with little things you need changing. He says next week. Base hit.
He's going to challenge Jordan's arm.
Successfully.
Gary Sheffield missed an early part of the season. In fact, they moved him to third base with a pulled hamstring, and I'm not sure he did it again because he started down to first base and then he started limping. I think it's heavily taped. This guy has tremendous lower body strength that he uses, and you can see how he coiled on that ball in that crouch. George playing with a little bit of a tender shoulder. Sheffield going all the way, so there again the scouting reports on both Lloyd and George's throwing arms. In this big ballpark, they're going to run like crazy on the outside of the outfielders.
Yeah, there's a little more room here. Here's Rod Deal. Now trailing McGriff and others by 1 on the home run parade.
Rob Deere ever puts a full season together, he's going to be something. 2 years ago, he had a great first half and an awful second half. Last year, he struggled early, had some injuries, but boy, he tore the league apart the second half. Not in time.
Close play.
At least this time, Rich Garcia was able to stay on his feet. Kelly Gruber diving in earlier. Upset the apple cart, and Rich was on the bottom. Good pick move. You got to have a lot of confidence in the middle infielders to throw at a spot that's vacant while he's on the run. And Jimmy Key, the athlete he is, not afraid to throw there.
0-1 to the hitter. How's the ball on the strike?
You think he was out of that replay? Looked at it again a couple of times.
No.
Well, he was safe, too. Liriano argued it was close.
It wasn't as close that time as I thought the first time. $465 million is the price tag. We asked you earlier, what was the cost of Exhibition Stadium? Peanuts. That's the take from the concessions here for a couple of weeks by comparison.
I wonder what the heating bill of this place is going to be in the winter, or the air conditioning bill. Houston Astrodome, they've got enough air conditioning power because it's so hot and humid in Houston to air condition a city of 25,000.
They won't need that much juice here, but it'll get humid in the summer, and they'll have to turn it on. Tonight, the dome is open. Very pleasant evening for the first game.
That's my point. The heating bill is going to be a little bit higher, though, isn't it? The winter time, when they close this thing, they have some events in the winter, whether it's truck pulling or
One of your favorites, I know.
I'll be here.
The old truck puller from Wisconsin in the off season. You know, this actually has many configurations for everything from, well, you name it, tractor pulls. Hockey could be played here. They do have a layout for spectators to be able to watch hockey in the stadium. Mosby, lots of time to get under this. And the Milwaukee seventh inning is history with Sheffield Brandon. But the Blue Jays still trail. These Brewers, you say, deceiving power, slender young athlete, great speed. Hits the ball a lot harder than you'd figure. Lifts that one out of play on the left side.
And really, when you talk about a new young talent coming in the league, whether it's Gary Sheffield or whether it's Junior Felix, any of the others, you wait till the second time around through the league where not only is he seen the pitchers, and sometimes it can be an advantage for the hitter, but more often than not with a young kid, they've got to adjust to the pitchers because the pitchers know what to pitch them and what they hit. And you reserve judgment on youngsters. But he's got a chance to be a good one.
Taps out here to the first baseman. Brock for the second out. Well, Felix has really had a career in capsule form already. I mean, a major league debut with a home run, inside the park Grand Slam home run. A lot of players never get a Grand Slam. Most players never get an inside the park Grand Slam. And he's just getting started.
He has the potential to be a 50-plus stolen base man, and he's just learning to get leads, learning to read pitchers and catchers.
Here's Tony Fernandez driving into center field, dropping quickly, but great hustle by Felder, and the Blue Jays are gone.
Tell you what Speed will do in his space is outfield.
5-2 after 7. Now Labatt's two passes for Milwaukee in the 8th. Then Brock and Surhoff with a 5-2 lead for the Brewers. It's giving a recent tradition we alluded to earlier of home teams opening their domes, losing their first game.
You know, the Brewers are a great example, Don, of what a team, after they've been down in the standings for a while, can do with good scouting with their number one draft choices. I mean, they've got Braggs in the lineup, number one draft choice. Surhoff, number one draft choice. Sheffield, number one draft choice. One time this year, they had 4 or 5 in the starting lineup, and I think 6 number one draft choices on the roster. Plesac is another one who's their closer.
Well, that's good scouting, good information.
It helps to draft high, and the Blue Jays are drafting what? Was it 19th this year, 17th? I forgot.
19th
They're
today.
down, and then it becomes somewhat of a crapshoot. Not completely a guessing game, because you usually got the top 40 guys sitting there. Kate Steve, he's a number one. Alexis Infante right to the front of your screen. Boy, there's no substitute for the Moose Johnson and the Bobby Maddox and the scouts like that who are the great Al Lamacchia, the great talent evaluators. They cross-check and they get all their input. Gordon Layton, he doesn't do much of that. He's more on the major league level, but very important people. That's how Pat Gillick built this organization. They're the backbone of it.
Well, Mosby was an early draft. He came around for them to become a regular over the years, but when it comes to number 1s and number 2s, the Jays really haven't had a whole lot that cashed in on the major league. Alex Sanchez from '86 is one of them that currently is here. Well, more room, and Ernie makes the most of it. Takes care of Bragg for the first out of the inning.
Sometimes you draft a guy, he ends up choosing a different sport.
That's happened with the Blue Jays. And Danny Ainge, 10 years ago today, they drafted Trader, who went on to quarterbacking fame for a while on the National Football League. Ileitis and colitis, corporate sponsors. Greg Brock sacrificed bunt and has struck out twice after that. He said just back with Milwaukee after surgery. His opening day was about 10 days ago. He did have a 3-run homer in his first game back. Did not start this season because of recovery from the surgery, coming off his worst year in baseball.
And 2 years ago, with a lot of help from Tony Newton, their hitting instructor, he learned to hit left-handers. I mean, he was not very good at it back days with the Dodgers and early with the Brewers. But he learned to go the opposite way when he gets into the sinker.
And he'll take it himself.
Talk about a good athlete. Did he go a long way for that ball, too?
You don't see a whole lot of run unassisted on your scorecard, do you, from day to day? There's one right there. Jimmy Key reacts beautifully and follows through right to the bag.
Well, Jimmy Key's a guy you get him on a golf course, you beat your pants off, you put a pool cue in his head, he probably doesn't there. I'll bet he was a good basketball player. He's one heck of a pitcher.
He's a competitor. He settled down to pitch very well. That's looking extremely shaky in the 5th inning.
You know, Key's a guy like, Langston, doesn't throw as hard as Mark Langston. Langston goes over to Montreal, strikes out 12, one game, 9 another, picks up a couple base hits, and he hadn't hit for how many years? But Jimmy Key would do that.
He's capable. Dave Steve is another, as we've seen, since stepping into that role. It's pretty comfortable.
Like David had a bat in the All-Star game. Didn't do too well. Jimmy Fry ran out of players.
Verhoff lifts this to shallow center field. Mosby on. Liriano goes away from the play, and Mosby makes the out. What he needs here is some offense. He's doing his part. It'll be Gruber, Bell, and McGruff for the Jays when we come back from the Skydome on the That's Blue Jays Baseball on CTV.
Don't replace it, repair it. Apple Auto Glass can save you and your insurance.
Over 50,000 fans. And, you know, I've had a chance to walk all around this stadium. You saw I was up in the right field corner. I was out in the dining room out there. And the one big complaint that I have found throughout the stadium, and it's the only complaint, is that the seats are too small. Other than that, they love it. Even the people up on the 5th level behind home plate or out in right field, they love the view. But just that the seats are too small. But it is a spectacular Skydome.
Yes, it is, Fergie, and I guess the only place you haven't been tonight is up in the helicopter.
And I'm not going.
There's still time. Kelly Gruber at the plate. He and Fernandez missed a glorious chance with the bases loaded. That bunt stop cold, and Gruber is gone.
Good off-speed breaking ball by Mark Knudsen had Kelly Gruber way out in front. Verhoff, who was drafted as a shortstop, still has the quickness. He can steal your base, and watch him get out from behind home plate. Best I'd ever seen at that, Yogi Berra. You bunt on him, and he'd run out there to get that guy third base at a 6th sense. Verhoff just said a pretty good play. Although that soft dirt in front that they complained about earlier just stopped the ball in its tracks.
It really did. Here's George Bell looking at ball one. Well, they flashed the attendance up on the board. I'm a little puzzled by it. They said 52,000 was capacity. They said expect more like 50 here. I know this game is in great demand. There's a strike 1-1, but 48,378 is the announced official attendance here tonight. Much lower than I certainly would have expected. Around the corner of the tower, you take a peek at the stadium from the helicopter.
Well, when you put that attendance in context with what Fergie said, the small seats, some of the wide bodies came in and they took two. That's
the reason.
People. Obvious conclusion.
The jumbo.
Whoa!
There's a jumbo.
Bell launched one. Second floor. Hit the mezzanine.
Don't go away. It's 5-3.
8th home run for George Bell. It's a fastball that C.J. Smirnoff, the catcher, wanted to reach out, grab George's bat, and then grab the ball, because it wasn't where he wanted it.
Not at all.
Trebelhorn may go to his ace. With McGriff, Mosby, and Witt coming up, Plesac is there, and George got an awful lot of this one.
And he has the distinction of hitting home runs in the closing game at Exhibition Stadium, the last ever hit there, and sharing in the home run derby here on the first Skydome night with an approximate shot of 398 feet. He went over the fence at 328 up in that mezzanine.
It was a long line drive, and here comes the sack man, Dan Plesac. He's one of the best closers in the game, a very hard throw with a good slider. Plesac, the last two seasons, had that arm problem. The Brewers, 87 and 88, were really outstanding second-half ball club. And they did it without this man in the month of September each time. One time was the elbow, another time it was the shoulder. I still think a team like the Brewers, when they get healthy, if they do, can still be in contention in this league, this division.
Yeah, Tony and Chevy, it was interesting. When George Bell came into the dugout, all the guys, he started asking the guys, where did that ball land? He said, I didn't see it land. He knew it was a home run, and Mullenix and Steve and a couple of guys were up, and they were pointing as to where that ball landed, but George didn't know.
And I'll bet George thought,
And that's where it landed, right up there.
and I bet George thought it went farther than 298 feet. That's what they had on the board here. I guess they got some computerized kind of setup depending on the seat. That ball was over 400 feet.
I would
don't
think
think
so.
that was accurate, because it was coming down, but it was a shot that would have made the people at Nassau very proud. That baby got out there like a laser beam.
Well, speaking of people who are very proud, Paul Beeson, who was very nervous last week, along with everybody else, about this dome's completion, is here smiling now and enjoying this first night, except for the score.
Hey, forget Paul
That's where it
Beeson.
landed,
Much
wasn't
more important, man. He's from my hometown, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The president and principal owner of the Milwaukee Brewers, Bud Felix. And, well, your reliever, your closer warms up, Bud. What do you think of this play?
Right, that you look forward to seeing something that doesn't live up to your expectations. This has been absolutely spectacular. I must say, really, this is the 21st century in baseball, and this is actually the most remarkable place I've ever seen. It's tremendous.
I know you're working on a new ballpark for the next couple of years in Milwaukee. Can you top this?
No, there's no way we can top it, Tony. Milwaukee is Milwaukee, as you well know, but this is unbelievable and gives us something really to pattern ourselves after. It is remarkable.
Paul Beeson said here, Paul, you happy with what's turned out tonight? Not the score, but the people, the way they reacted.
Oh, it's been outstanding, Tony. You know that we're all looking forward to this night, and it's just come the way that we wanted it to. There's a few glitches, but we'll get those cleared up, and by Detroit coming in the weekend, we'll be ready.
Well, it still might end the way you want it to, Paul. Let's get back to the action here with the power of Fred McGriff at the plate. Jay's down by a couple of runs now. The appeal at third base is denied. 1-1 count to McGriff, who launched the first home run ever in this stadium in the second inning. Gave the Jays a very brief 2-1 lead. Bell has made it close here with his home run. in the 8th inning. Freddie pops this up. There's more room here. Surhoff goes to the wall, but still can't find it.
Plesac has pitched the 24 and 2/3 innings to this point. He has struck out 29, then a 19 base hit, and a power pitcher with the control he has. He's walked just 7. He can be awesome.
Lifetime against Toronto, a 186 earned run average.
You get the speed gun on him, and there are times where he's in the mid-90s. With a slider that, when it's fighting, can be nasty.
Whether it's from too many innings or whatever, but Ken Elliott did him in the last month of each of the last 2 seasons. Had he hung around, he would have posted some truly big numbers.
You know, he is like Rigetti was in Rigetti's prime.
Yeah.
Left-handed, tall, but just terrific movement and velocity on their fastball.
Got all the tools, hasn't he?
You know, I'm not so sure that he hadn't messed around with it with a forkball, too. Something I lost me, because not that he needs it.
He struggles here, full count now with McGriff, but he's got the power pitches, the pinpoint control, and an aggressive approach. One out, a run in, full count to McGriff. 2 gone.
That's either a slider or a fastball that just ran away from Freddie McGriff. Out of the strike zone, but look at the action. Didn't let up one bit in the full count, did he?
Not at all. Fooled Fred, a pretty good judge of pitches. Here's Mosby.
Here's the situation we talked about earlier. And you've got a couple of left-handers. You've had Kruger earlier, and you got the backup man from the left side. It's an ideal setup as a bullpen. Last year and earlier this year, it was Paul Mirabella. Mirabella pitched very well, and he would come in the middle innings. You turn your lineup around. You have the right-hander come in a trim. If you left it that way, you had Plesac to back it up. And you've got 3 right-handers on the bench left for Tito Gaston. Trim is still down there. Aldrich is still down there, the big redhead. Larry Haney, the bullpen coach, standing up. I guess they did finally get some bleachers up for them, too.
Yep.
They were there earlier.
They can peer over the wall. Very different bullpen areas here. Of course, at Exhibition Stadium, they were down the lines at 1st and 3rd and almost in the game.
Of course, in Milwaukee County Stadium, the Brewers and the visiting team are used to this. The bullpens are side by side in right center. They've got some bleachers up there for them also.
Plesac into the dirt with that one, so it is 2-1.
Charlie O'Brien, their number 2 catcher, the right-handed hitter. 2 good defensive catchers, Surhoff and O'Brien.
He's the odd man out there, isn't he?
Brewers are a very young team.
You missed the shower this morning?
He might be hanging near the telephone if there is one.
St. Louis leading Montreal 5-4. They're in the 9th inning. Milwaukee here. But yesterday proved that no lead is insurmountable as far as the Blue Jays are concerned. Mosby sends it down the line and left. He's at second.
High fastball that Lloyd dragged his barrel to the bat behind. It was up and in, and Lloyd rifles it in the left field corner. He makes the double from home plate to first. He ran hard all the way. Bragg did a good job cutting this off. He showed a strong arm, although it wasn't an accurate throw. Last season, so Bragg went down. He played right field, and Deere played left. But then Deere got entrenched in right field, so Kevlar left him there this year.
And we're going to have Brenly come out for Ernie Witt. representing the tying run of the play.
This will be Bob Brantley's 12th pinch hitting appearance. He's done a good job. He is 5 for 11 with 2 runs batted in for pinch hitting. So that leaves Lawless and Infante, both right-hand hitters on the bench.
The downside for Brantley is you get that magnificent helicopter view of the Skydome nestled next to the CN Tower in downtown Toronto is that Bob has not had an RBI in his last 18 at-bats. Trying to cash in Mosby here with his 2-out double.
And if he does get on, then you've got Ducey on deck with Tusak out there. And here comes those matchups again that Severlon has tried to set up all along. You look ahead, if you can, a couple of innings, and see what the other managers got. Look at this.
This game is about to be tied. Or is it?
No.
It stays in the ballpark. My goodness, Brantley body and timing and a shot to left.
Well, it is not a circular outfield. It is angled. And it was hit to a very deep spot. And right at this spot, you see where it angles out as he goes to the 10-foot padded fence. And they're not going to tell me that's 375. That's more like 385 there. But the ball just got out and hung there. I still believe it's going to be a great pitcher's park. That might have proven it.
So it is 5-3. Milwaukee clings to the lead in Labatt Blue Jays baseball on CTV.
There's a new spirit on the road. It speaks of performance with 2.5 liters of turbocharged power. It speaks of control with 5-speed gearbox and sport ratio rack and pinion steering. Introducing the all-new Dodge Spirit. It speaks for itself. Chrysler, changing the landscape. Xerox announces a breakthrough in office technology. Ears to listen to your wants, your needs, to understand your business environment before we try to fit our product into it. It's a startling new concept in the world of office technology. It's also a promise. Until our ears have done their job, we'll keep our mouths closed. We answer to you.
You might see this as a quiet drive in the country, but there's another way to look at it. As 3,000 pounds of steel and glass hurtling down the highway.
You should know he came from one of the worst hitting parks for right-handed hitters. If you pull the ball, Candlestick Park. Mays and Cepeda learned to hit the ball in the right center field there where it's carried.
If it's any consolation to Bob, it's not cold and it's not windy, as it always is out in Candlestick.
You know, really, as the temperature drops, as it has now, and then the humidity may drop with it, the ball is going to carry as well later on in the ball game on certain nights. We're going to have a lot of variables here. When Freddie hit his, he hit as well, but it was warmer temperature, and the ball does go farther in warmer temperature. So depending whether it's open, closed, day, night, atmospheric conditions are going to change.
Felder is the hitter, then Pollard and Paul Mulder. In the Milwaukee ninth, still ahead by 2. Chicago's trampling the Mets tonight, 15-2. Baltimore leading the Yankees 11-1. They're putting up football scores in June. Mosby gets there. 2 outstanding catches by Don Mosby and the man who hit that ball tonight, Felder, out in center field.
He is playing tiny shallow. Got a good jump. Sometimes not the easiest ball to get a good jump on. The line drive hit almost directly at you. The light screen cone there, didn't he? As he shoe-topped it.
He couldn't get much closer to the ground, could he, with the glove? Quattledore, the second baseman, 1 for 3 tonight.
So what a different year this is for David Cone. He was a scheduled starting pitcher. He was all but unbeatable last year. And he started for the Mets today, and he's 3 wins and 4 losses this year. Last year, he won over 20, and what do you lose, 2 or 3?
Gustavio Polidor, just called me Gus. Fans at Edmonton know him as he was sent there by their California Major League team. Gruber gunned him down for the second out.
This looks like a very fast, bouncy turf. Playing well off the line because of Jimmy Key's outstanding sinker and tailing fastball. If you know your pitcher is going to keep the ball away as he can, has good control, you can give the line and set your defense so well.
More great views of the night skyline of Toronto, and the skyscrapers all lit up around this new facility. Paul Molitor sends a souvenir to the right side. He has scored tonight, but on base 3 times, scored twice as a matter of fact.
You know, someday I think Robin Yount is going to be in the Hall of Fame. He's going to get his 3,000 hits, and that sometimes is a sure thing, although Yount does more. This guy is Robin on deck, but I think Molitor, if not for all the injuries, is actually a more sensational style player than Robin. He's got power also like Robin. Better running speed, a great base stealer. Outstanding. We saw 2 athletic defensive plays for him, but not for the injuries. That's not what he would have done.
Flaps back to right, and a great running catch by Junior Felix.
Speed will do it, won't it? Speed never gets in the slump. A bat does, a pitcher might, but legs never do it. That's what the kid's got. You wonder when he's going to be out in center field in this spacious ballpark.
He was made for the Skydome, and there's the first example of his defensive powers here.
The ball is hit very hard as you saw, and slicing away.
That sets it up for one last chance for the Jays on Labatt's Blue Jays baseball on CTV.
Gifted with great ability. He has good running speed, but he somehow seems to work in such situations. A walk out of a situation, you take enough pitches and make a pitcher pitch. He's going to throw him strength.
Well, the bizarre baseball season continues tonight in New York. It is now 16-2 for the Orioles over the Yankees. And get this, the first 11 Baltimore runs were unearned.
And we talked about the first 3 in the first inning, an error by former Blue Jay Jesse Barfield.
Then the next 8 in the 3rd inning were in the same category. And the Cubs lead the Mets 15-2. Not much pitching on the East Coast tonight.
It looks like Jeff Ballard is going to get his 9th win with 1 loss for the Orioles. He was the starter, and Andy Hawkins over in San Diego in that Jack Clark deal going to get another loss. He'll be 5-7.
And as a result, they're going to pick up an extra game on the Blue Jays unless Toronto turns this around. The Jays will go 9 off the pace if things hold here. To Baltimore, I mean, you talk about a surprise.
Hey, when do you say over 50 games we're playing, the Baltimore might be for real? With all those new young pitchers, Greg Olson, a good closer.
Flawless to the first baseman Brock in foul territory.
Look at some of the outfielders they throw at you. Joe Orsolak, who can run, left-handed hitter, and Brady Anderson, and Finley. Phil Bradley, who was the best left fielder, I think, defensively in the National League last year. Now he's back, and Ripken. And
the 2 of them.
Some of the others.
Good little ball club. And then Pendleton with his 13 home runs behind the plate. A success story in his own right.
Well, they're a good little ball club for this division. East Division American League, the way some of these other teams are playing. A lot of great players. Not as good as have gone out of this division the last 3 years.
They're going to be 31-22, and the Blue Jays are liable to be 23-32 when this is over. Nelson Liriano. Bounced in by Plesac. 2 more games here at the Dome tomorrow on Wednesday. The Wednesday game on CTV at 7:30 Eastern Time against Milwaukee. And the Tigers will be in on the weekend. That'll be the NBC game of the week on Saturday. Tony will be staying here for that. And then Sunday right back on CTV. The wind-up of that series. Popped up. Brewers will be an out away from an upset over the Jays in the Skydome tonight as Brock has made both out.
And Plesac trying for his 13th save. I mean, he just knocked the bat out of your hand. He just lawless. He just sawed Liriano off. You think you're on his pitch, and it just seems to jump in on you. when he hit down the fifth. You got to start your bat early against this high like Plesac.
It's up to Felix now, the rookie switch hitter, who is much stronger from the other side of the plate than he is here on the right. Weaker here by about 130 points in his batting average.
You figure that Junior Felix has played baseball about 6 years. I don't mean professional. I mean, he was a track star, and Lefty Guerrero discovered him in the Dominican Republic when he was 16 and played baseball casually. So you're talking about 5 years. This is, what, his 4th year professionally. A little over a month at the AAA level. Remember when they tried that with Camposano and Ducey after a full year at Syracuse and AAA level? See what kind of jump this kid made. Not easy.
Natural ability and a willingness to learn will take you a long way, and it has Junior Felix. He has arrived.
But like anything else, the test of time, and we'll see if Junior Felix can survive that at a big league level.
He has made his mark, as you say, the first time around at least.
And one thing he's done, I think they've liked about him, when he left the ball game in Cleveland with an ankle injury, he had a little bit of a reputation. He might not play hurt, but then he came back strong and played very well in Boston, as we know, and great with a tender ankle.
Takes his walk here and gives Tony Fernandez a chance to tie this ball game.
So what they will do now is not pay any attention as Brock moves behind Felix, but what they will do is guard the line. They don't care if Junior scores or where he goes. What they want to do is keep Tony Fernandez out of scoring position for Gruber and maybe Bell. So the outfield goes way deep. Give him a single, prevent the gapper or the double over the head or a triple. You protect the line, take the double away. And Treble Horn is just really setting his defense from the back. And what Brock did was he said, I'm playing behind. I'm going to stay way back. There's Andy Etcheberry. Brock was warning him not to throw over because that's the ball.
Fastball for a strike. Fernandez a little bit better from this side of the plate, the right side, than he is on the left, at least right now.
He's just got a much more level swing. And he seems to be a little stronger, a little quicker from the right side. I mean, not that he's a bad hitter left-handed, but it's not really his natural way.
Not the disparity of a Felix, for example, from one side to the other. 1-1 is the count to Tony. If he keeps it going, Kelly Gruber will be next. High, 2-1. Well, they did it in Beantown yesterday. A lot less ground to make up here tonight. And the Blue Jays want to come back and win the opener of the Dome. Against a tough stopper, Plesac. Gets a strike. It is 2-2.
Tony almost looked like up until 2 strikes, he was looking for something inside part of the plate that he could pull and maybe get a quick 2 runs. Good fastball away.
Fouls it off, stays alive. Fernandez, as you know, has been in a horrendous slump and has gone 0 for 4 tonight. His average down below 215 at this stage. Great stop to end it. Polidor pounced on that ball like a wildcat.
Years ago, about 4. Now we'll talk about Polidor, who Gene Mock likes so well.
You're watching Advanced Blue Jays Baseball at CTV.
When we decided to introduce a special new Toyota Camry, we wasted no time adding lots of not-so-standard features, like power windows and power door locks.
sweepstakes, you could win a luxury holiday for two in Puerto Vallarta. Details at Country Style.
This contest is scheduled for one fall.